The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Hey everyone, it's Antenna, and you are watching the DL Show only on Dave's Guitar Channel.
All righty. Welcome, everybody. The date is January 9th, and we have another show for you today. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Oh, about the same old, same old.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Selling
you know
guitars.
Yeah, you know what's happening? Had cigars last night. Had a little
Yes, we did.
scotch.
Oh, you had a scotch there? I didn't know. I didn't even
Monkey
notice you
shoulder.
drinking.
Yeah.
Did
No. No, I sipped on it right at the beginning.
Yo, Ricky Compton. Hey.
I didn't even notice. Yeah, we smoked the Porcelain, which was a nice cigar from Black Label. They're a good company. Usually they make a strong cigar. That was an unbelievably smooth Connecticut. A little on the bitter side for me, but I still enjoyed it a lot.
Smoked
Um,
the porcelain. Smoked
you,
the
Dave?
porcelain now almost sounds like code for something.
Dave, you don't drink at all, do you?
No.
Didn't think so.
No. So,
That's why he's no fun.
and then I had the Todos Las Dias, which again, folks, is my favorite of the year. It was a great cigar. We had a good time yesterday. Watched a lot of football. And do you guys have predictions for this? Who was your prediction for the Super Bowl? What teams do you think are going to come out and play in the bowl? Who do you think is going to go take it to the end?
Bills
Well,
and
it's not
Tampa
Packers,
Bay.
so, okay.
Bills and Tampa Bay.
Really? You're going with Brady? Interesting.
Yep. Mostly because no one is. So
All right.
if Brady's the underdog, I'll take
Matt, you?
I actually don't follow it, Dave. I'm not a big fan.
Dane, do you?
I do follow football. And because living here in Phoenix and being an Arizona Cardinals fan, we had a really tough season, and our quarterback is a little piece of shit, and we fired our head coach today. So,
All right. But do you have a
What's
pick
this
for the
have to
Super
do with
Bowl?
The Super Bowl.
Right. I feel like I'm talking to Krellbaugh for a minute.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm looking in a mirror.
I don't even know what, I
All right,
follow
that's good
the
enough.
Cardinals,
I say
and
it's
after a while,
Buffalo.
I don't freaking know.
I think it's going to be Buffalo and Minnesota. Although the Eagles and the Chiefs are probably the most obvious, but I think Buffalo and Minnesota will. Hey now.
Dom Hall,
Minnesota
Tampa
is
Bay will
pretty
beat
used
Dallas.
to,
Well,
blow
Oh yeah, for
everybody.
sure. Yeah.
What were you saying-
Brady's
what were
not
you
going
saying
in the
yesterday?
playoffs and getting
Yeah,
knocked
he's
out.
not going to lose the first playoff game.
No way. Oh,
So
Yeah.
so who's Tampa Bay play in the first playoff game?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Dallas. Ooh, man, Dallas is good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Brady in the
Dallas
bowl, Brady in the
taking
in the playoffs is a hard thing to beat. He's
And then
tough.
who's Philly got it? Is Philly in the first round or no? They've already clinched the
Bye.
first
I
round.
think they got a bye.
Yeah.
Did they clinch the bye?
What about Seattle? Who's Seattle playing now?
Seattle's going to play.
Because they got in because Green Bay lost yesterday.
I'll look
And
up.
I know those Minnesota fans are just.
I think Seattle
loving it.
plays not. Oh, why am I blanking on it? It's not San
If you're a
Fran.
Minnesota fan,
49ers.
It is San Fran.
Yeah.
they'll
right.
never get past the 49ers.
Chargers and Jaguars in the wild card. Seahawks, 49ers in the wild card. Dolphins.
I mean,
and
how
Bills,
surprising
wild
is the
card.
Jaguars, though, to even be there? You don't see that very often. It's been like 10 years probably since the Jaguars have been around.
So last Monday,
Yeah, Ricky,
we
that's
were,
why I didn't pick them. I picked Buffalo and Minnesota, but I picked those too early. I do want to say by halfway through the season, I said before halfway through, I said those were the two teams to keep an eye on.
Now, if
So-
by some chance Brady does win, time to get the fuck out of football. If he wins, finish on top, get the hell out. Don't try to do anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe he can go one more.
If you could pull that off, that'd be amazing.
He already screwed that up. I mean, the only way he can redeem himself now is winning this time.
I mean, but aren't
Yeah.
they like 8-11 or something? What's their record?
Doesn't
They
matter.
have a losing record, don't they?
Playoffs are playoffs. You
know.
just got to win the game each week.
They were
That's-
8 and 9. Since there's
Playoffs are
only-
totally different than regular season. Everyone's equal. Any given Sunday.
Yeah. All right.
It's not like best of or anything like that.
Have you guys been? You guys watch like a lot of videos, and I posted this about clickbait on the page coming in here because lately all I see for music stuff is fucking clickbait. Nobody puts out a real video that has any information that anybody needs. It's they're posting stuff like, I'm never going to buy a USA guitar. And then you go into it and he's talking about $4,000 USA guitars. Or he was comparing something to a PRS. And I'm like, so you're never going to buy a USA guitar? And then he showed this guitar that he was playing and he's like, this is better than my Telly. It's like, has nothing to do with a Telly. Like you would never think like, oh, I'm going to get that instead of a Telly. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't watch
It's
any of that anymore. But
No,
you know, Guitologist has been showing up in my feed again. He's been doing the shit post Fridays again.
Yeah,
so.
well, but I'm talking about the posts that's like, I don't watch them either. They just show up in my feed. Oh, pickups, these pickups, whatever. It's like enough already with pickups.
I love
does
what the
anyone give a fuck?
guitologist is doing, though. He's coming this close to getting himself in trouble. It seems like every Friday he's just trying so hard to get himself
Well,
in
what
trouble.
he gets into trouble is he gets demonetized. That's about it.
Right.
He's basically saying to the crowd, like, well, hey, look,
Hey,
I'm putting this
now.
out here. I'm getting demonetized. You know, support me a little
Uh-huh.
bit on my PayPal so I can talk.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
Who's this?
Brad, the guitologist.
He did
Yeah, this
sort
guy,
of come.
Brad.
I watched that last Friday, and he's kind of coming off a little desperate, like he really needs us to send him $5.
Well,
You know?
to give that content, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, gets demonetized. So if you want to see that content, I mean, normally you wouldn't have to do that if they would just monetize the damn thing. But,
Yeah, for me, I'll tell you what's funny is people always comment on my fucking lesson videos. Oh, this guy's good, but I wish he would put the chord charts. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm just like, have you never watched any of my fucking rants? The answer is no. The answer is no. I'm not doing a fucking thing. I don't care what the fuck you want. I'll tell you what, tip me $100 and we'll have a conversation about what you want. But when I'm here doing this for free and I'm like spending X amount of time, any amount of time that I do on a lesson video is too much time because I'm not getting anything out of it. I do it for me. So when someone's like, "Oh, can you do this?" Or I wish you would have done this version too. You should repost it with this. Repost it. Go fuck yourself. What am I like?
It turns into a lot of work.
It
We're
is.
not seeing
I
any
gotta start
super
reading the
chat.
comments on your videos.
Plus, you know
Oh,
that
it's-
they have that little thing now where you can watch a video that you did 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and you can actually hit the little send money button on there. And
Well, I have on my channel the virtual
can
tip
still
jar
tip.
that people can go to. But I'll tell you this, and then I get a comment from a guy, and he's talking to me about a chord that I called a 7 sharp 5. And he's like, it's a 7 flat 13. And I'm like, no, it isn't. And he's like, well, I do jazz, and in jazz, you don't have to say the 5, it's implied. Yes, it may be implied, but not here. It's sharped. It's not implied. You can't play the sharp in the natural because it's an altered chord. It comes from the altered scale. You can play a sharp 5 and a flat 5, or you can call it a sharp 5 and you can call it a sharp 11. Either fucking way, it's a 5. There is no natural 5 in that. And I'm like, so, and then he was like, oh, never mind. Like, he didn't want to, like, when I corrected him, he was like, what? It was just like, go fuck yourselves. I don't know why I even.
Emily Littella, never mind.
Did you watch Rick Beato talking about the Wichita lineman?
I don't watch Rick Beato. I think he's a nice guy.
He does
but
the same
after watching 2 or 3 of his videos,
I saw the
I'm
thumbnail
like,
for that.
I'm done. And that was a long time ago. I don't watch any of his videos. I think his kid's unbelievable with his hearing and pitch. And I don't like the series of why this song is great. Anyone can sit there and tell you why a song is great after the fact. If he knew what song was great ahead of the fact, he would be in Clive Davis's position, but he's not.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
I don't think he's a good teacher either. I mean, he knows music
he
for the yin yang and all that stuff, but every lesson, first of all, he does it in a live format, which is wrong. It's like he's trying to teach up there, and then he goes, "Hey, how's it going in chat?" Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, by the way, my book's on sale. It's like no, you try and teach a lesson. Number one, number two, it's like he goes from 0 to 100 in one day. So okay, here's one concept. Here's another concept. Okay, kind of get that. Then he just goes off into La La Land.
Yeah, you don't really learn
it's like without any bridge from what he was starting to explain to what he's doing.
The thing is, though, I drove my girlfriend and I've driven my kids crazy over the last about 3 or 4 years because of that Glenn Campbell song, Wichita Lineman. And then the video comes up where Beato's like, this is the greatest country song ever written. And I'm like, see, guys, I told you, even this guy agrees with me. This is the best freaking song, Wichita Lineman. But Beato does the same thing where he'll be, okay, now this is an E flat over 9th. No, but it's a, E sharp minus whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So Wichita Lineman is a great song. But I got to tell you, it's probably not in my top 100 country songs. So to say it's the best country song,
ooh, I smell a list coming on for the future. That's
completely false. I don't even think it's as good as maybe Tammy Wynette's 4 biggest songs. It's a good song, though. Mm-hmm. It's more like Americana pop more than it is country.
Yeah,
no, I know he didn't write it. And it was, what's her face's guitar that he played, wasn't it? Carol Kay's bass 6. Yeah. He does the solo. I do a bass 6 solo on the
bass 6. There's a YouTube video of him singing that when he was on the Smothers Brothers show. And he's standing there with the bass 6. And you can see him turn the volume down, and then while he's singing, he's pretending to strum like it's a regular guitar.
Right.
And you see him turn it up and actually play the lead. And then after the lead's over, he winks at you. Just he's got the perfect wink, and then he turns the volume down. And he acts like he's strumming it. Like
that's what got him Tanya Tucker.
Hollywood.
How's Glenn Campbell? So, but yeah, the Beato's teaching and where he loses it for a lot of people, not me. I don't think he teaches that bad, but I understand why people don't like it. He really goes into modal thinking, and talking modes to me is the silliest thing in the world, especially like most people, right? Like even like a lot of guitar players don't read music. But if you read music, you would understand why modes are so silly. You know what I mean? Because it's sitting there and you go, if you looked at a piece of music that was in D minor Dorian, it's going to be written in the key of C. So the sheet music's just going to say no sharps and no flats. You automatically know key of C. Now, the music may center on the D, and that's D minor, but you don't think of it that way because you're just reading music and you just have to know there's no sharps and no flats.
Someone say
if all of a
KFC.
what was that?
No, you said KFC. I said someone say KFC.
Oh, one of your jokes.
KFC.
All right.
Gotta throw that.
Hit the gong.
Talk about
So,
chicken.
but you know what I'm saying? So in other words, like let's say the song has 3 sharps in the sheet music, right? And the song is based around a C sharp minor. So everybody would know if you read sheet music that it's the key of A. But Beato would sit there and go, well, this is C sharp minor Phrygian. And it gets silly because now you got to sit there and do it all in your head when really all he's saying when someone says Phrygian to me,
A scale.
they're saying it's the third. It's the third in the the third tone in the
That's
scale.
what makes that confusing. And so for a intermediate guitar, it's right over your head.
Yeah, no, I know that's why a lot of people don't like it. But he's not a bad teacher. I think he's just teaching music school language. But when I used to do sessions, nobody would ever bring up a mode. They would just say, key of C, center on G. Okay, where a guy would say, oh, that's Mixolydian. We just say key of C, center on G. All right, we get it. But because then if you say the key of C to somebody, everyone should know the 7 triads, the 7 chords that are in the, like a C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, and B half diminished, right? That would be your key of C. But if you said, okay, we're going to play in B Locrian.
Dane, it's just going up the scaling chords. That's all.
Yeah, but if you say B Locrian, that Locrian is the 7th tone, so we know, okay, we're still in the key of C. All 7 chords relate. But it's just easy to say the key of C and center on B. Anyways. He's definitely a jazz guy. Like I said, looking back, Texas. You know who hated that song, Rick Grimes? Waylon Jennings hated that song. I love it. But I know Waylon hated it. It's all right. If anyone is curious about theory and stuff, I do many videos. I have a video on the Circle of Fifths that I think is 5 episodes. And I had a show called Chord Therapy, which basically talks about how I look at all the keys as just chords. I mean, you could look at it. If you said C major 13, a C major 13 is a 7-note chord. It's the whole key of C. C, E, G, B, D, F, A. So it's just where the notes are just.
There was a lot of early 80s country that I liked. Growing up, listened to in the morning before school on WPRO, like Eddie Rabbit.
He was
I'm
great.
driving my life away.
Eddie Rabbit was great.
It's like a pop song, yeah.
Yeah.
But country was pop. Country started in the 80s. Country started going pop.
Yep.
And it wasn't until Randy Travis.
Yep.
In 84 came out and brought the old school style country back into
my mother loved him until he started running around naked drunk all over the place. But
that was just was she alive for that? I think that was last year.
No, I think that was like 12
Suppose I call you up tonight and tell you that I love you. And suppose I love his voice. He's great.
And Glenn Campbell's Southern Nights.
Thanks,
right?
Robin.
That was
Southern
one of
Nights.
those pop hits.
That was the Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Southern Nights and Rhinestone Cowboy.
2012.
But I like country songs like She's Acting Single, I'm Drinking Doubles. That's a song by Gary Stewart. Oh, I'm telling you right now, it's a fantastic country song. Gary Stewart, you got to look it up. It's a great song.
Bellamy Brothers, Let Your Love Flow. That's a good
That
one.
was a pop song, though.
I like it, though.
Yeah. There's a reason. Down. Yeah, but that
You
was
can't
like
feel-
real
you can't-
AM radio pop. I mean,
You can't feel sad when you hear that song.
Right.
I mean, that's like the Stampeders. Sweet city woman.
With the banjos. Yeah, big banjo going on in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jerry Reed was great. But I mean, I like in the 80s, I loved Diamond Rio.
Yeah, Outlaws are more Southern rock.
Yeah, that's Southern rock, yeah.
What about Zach Brown? How you guys doing with 10 years
The
ago,
whole,
Zach Brown.
The whole chicken fried thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Good
country.
players.
Mhm.
I got sick of hearing
I
it.
haven't watched Timmy and George yet. I don't like the fact they got Mike Shannon to play George because I think George Jones looks just like Jim Carrey. So I don't understand why they got him. Oh, I love the Mavericks. I love Raul Malo. So funny. Funny.
What about that
What's
TV
that?
show Nashville? You guys watching Nashville?
No.
'Cause my girlfriend watches that, and sometimes I walk through the room and see if she's
busy watching Tulsa, as in Tulsa King.
Yeah.
Tulsa King, yeah. So when I managed West LA Music, this guy, I think I told this story before, but this guy came in and he was like playing country guitar licks in the like against the back wall, and I walked up and I go, "What the hell was that?" And I made him show me. So after he showed it to me, I was like, "Oh, that's fucking great." He goes, "Well, now you owe me one." So I showed him this banjo crawl thing that I had picked up over time, and he was like, "Ooh, I like that one." I go, and he played it back pretty quick, and I said, "Man, you're a fucking great player." He goes, "Thanks." I go, "What are you playing in a band?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm in the Mavericks." I was like, "Oh, there you go. I only have all your fucking records."
Yeah.
You'd think I'd recognize any of you guys because you're all Hispanic. I don't care. No, I'm kidding. I didn't know who he was. I actually only had 2 albums of theirs. I only knew who Raul Malo was.
They all look the same, right, Dave?
Yeah, exactly. No. They actually Raul Malo, I think, is Cuban in the band, so he's chunkier. Thank you. Like, I'm seeing if YouTube will shut me down. But anyways, it's all jokes, folks.
Yep, just jokes.
Yeah, I agree with that about Shannon. Although Mike Shannon's in the movie Bullet Train, and I think he's completely miscast in that movie too. I wanted to see a big angry Russian guy, and then the big angry Russian guy comes out of the shadows, and it's Mike Shannon. And I'm like, fucking hike the football. Hey, Bingham, what's happening?
Hey, John.
He's Matt
Who did
Stone.
Heart of the Night? Heart of the Night, Rick Grimes was a band called Poco.
Timothy B. Schmidt.
Yeah, Poco did In the Heart of the Night. And they also did Crazy Love off the same album. Great band. I love Poco.
I knew a guy, and you know the album cover of Crazy Love where it shows the horse.
Bingham, you want to come in? Let me just invite Bingham in if he's
okay. But the album, the one Poco album cover that was really successful, it just showed a horse, and it was like a charcoal sketch or something. And I knew a guy that had that tattooed on his leg. If you got the Poco logo album cover thing tattooed on your leg, he's like, "Yeah, man, it's a great album."
No, more like stayed for the conversation, came for the homosexual orgy.
The Poco legend. Is that what you're talking about? The legend?
Yeah, you know how there was a horse and it was running in the wind. It looked like a charcoal sketch drawing.
You know who designed it?
Phil Hartman.
For hire.
Yeah, exactly right. Phil Hartman from SNL designed that. Troy McClure.
He did for America. I think he did America's for Bread too.
Hits. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people mistakenly say he did it for Asia from Steely Dan, but he did not.
What's that?
But he the album cover.
The artwork.
He used to do the artwork on album covers. Phil Hartman, and he did Poco Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And a few other records.
You might remember him from such albums as.
Oh, you can't. Okay, no worries, Bingham. Bingham stayed for the homosexual. In fact, Bingham, I think I have you at a nightclub here. Hold on, let me just see if I have this.
It's a fucking joke.
That was him.
Classic.
Medication.
Ask Bingham how much weight he's lost on the carnivore.
Bingham, how much weight have you? You know, he told me the other day. Bingham, what did you lose so far?
About 200 in his bank account and 100 on his waist.
Right.
My kids are on my computer, so.
Oh yeah. He's probably on his phone. I said, Bingham, come on in the show, and he says,
"I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
No.
That's next.
That's coming.
No.
Oh shit.
But anyways,
Dave.
I watched the movie. Jim Poco one. I watched. It's a genius. I watched a movie last night called Smile. You guys hear this?
It's a horror movie.
I have, yeah. Was it good? I've heard good things. I haven't seen it though.
So I enjoyed it. A little long. I don't like my horrors going over 2 hours.
Oh yeah, that's too long.
Horror should be an hour and a half. Get
Yeah.
it done.
Yeah.
So they dragged out a lot of parts. It was really cool, and then it wasn't. The reveal is what ruins it. You know when they do that in a horror, it's like the whole time they have this like,
Dun, dun, dun.
you know, they have like an evil thing going on, an evil presence, and then they try to personify it or somehow show it to the camera, and it just is like, yeah,
Let
This is not-
down.
yeah. So
Haven't seen it yet though.
thanks. Oh yeah. But anyways, it was decent. It was decent. I enjoyed it. I there's a couple of trickery that they do where they make you jump because like out of nowhere, like shit happens. It's
No,
like
I don't like jump scares. That's not scary. That's dumb.
it's not. It's a horrible technique, and that was the only. I was like, I wish they didn't do that.
Hmm.
But it was some suspense stuff. It was a decent movie. I'd give it a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the best horror is one that has no jump scares. It just creeps you out, and like after the movie, it's like you get the creepy crawlies. It's like, oh, that was fucking screwed up.
Well, this was creepy throughout the first half of the movie is very creepy, and I was like so into it. I'm like, oh, this is good because the creep factor. And in fact, what was the movie Ju-On? Was that The Ring? Or
Yeah,
no,
the
that was
original.
Ring.
Yeah.
No, that was
It
the Grudge.
original Grudge. Yep.
You know the style of film that Ju-On and Ringu, the Japanese
Asian,
style of horror.
Mm-hmm.
Smile has a lot of that, but American. But it's kind of imitating that. In fact, if you told me it was a Japanese movie redone, I wouldn't be surprised.
See, I think what Japanese horror succeeds is that it's more like a nightmare than a movie is over here. It's like over here, it's more scripted and stuff. Japan, it's a little more disjointed, like a nightmare. When you have a nightmare, I mean, not everything is logical. It's like there's no big things will just pop out of nowhere for no friggin' reason. That's what Japan does with a lot of their.
Did you see Barbarian?
No.
Not yet.
That's actually pretty good. It's got a couple of flaws as far as there's a couple of things that happen that you're like, well, there's no way that could fucking happen. But it completely takes you down one path and then something happens to just like smash it all and completely takes it in the other direction. You're just like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it really, I won't ruin it for you, but
What's it streaming on?
it is on, it's either Netflix or HBO Max, I think.
All right.
But it's, yeah, I mean, I watched it and you think you're like, oh yeah, man, she shouldn't do that because, that guy. And then you're all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck was that?
All right, Dom Hall has a question. He says, question, guys, sorry if stupid, but do certain strings play better in certain guitars or one brand for all? And let me just start off with saying, yes, that was stupid. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. No questions too dumb or too whatever. Personally, I have a preference of what brand of string I like.
Same. You'd go
I would
crazy
say
trying
that-
every set of strings on every guitar, though.
Well,
That's just endless.
No, that would be nuts.
Combination.
I like reliability. That's why I go with Diodarios. And thing is, I use 10s on everything, and whether it's a Les Paul scale or a Fender scale, I don't care. I know it's stiffer on the Fender scale, but I mean, I just play it.
Yeah, me too.
Don't think of it.
I use 9s on Fender scale. But
See,
it doesn't matter. My point
What
is,
I don't like about the thinner gauges when it's loose like that, I like having resistance on the picking hand. It's like when I hit the string, I like it to be tight. I don't like it to be too loose. So
Yeah.
I
it's
get
more
it.
picking hand than the left hand.
Yeah, I just barely, when I want to speed pick, I just barely pick I'm barely hitting the string anyway. So
See, I dig. That's
yeah, but the point I'm going to say is there's a lot of string manufacturers, and there's not a lot. So you might. I mean, and this has happened to me, and it happens to me. I have people coming to me saying to me, "Oh man, you know what strings are the best? The Gibson strings are the best." I'm like, really? Because Gibson hasn't made strings since 2008 when they closed the Elgin factory.
same thing with Fender.
They just put their name on it.
Fender closed theirs in 2009. But the point of the matter is, someone else, I'm not going to go into it, somebody else is making strings for them. Just like if you bought Ken Smith bass strings, there's no way the guy who makes basses is setting up a factory to just make one set of strings. Somebody else, another manufacturer, a different manufacturer from the other, is making his strings. So there's a lot of strings being made by
a lot of brands.
Oh yeah, look at Bingham just realized that was you, Matt.
And then
Yeah,
there's
John.
even fake strings. There's even fakes where if you go on Wish or one of those online places and you order Fender strings or elixirs, there's fake elixir strings out there that you can get on Wish, and they're like made in China, and they look
everything's
similar
fake
and
on
everything,
Wish.
but
And
there's
Are you
fake
kidding me?
strings
On Wish, I got a package. I'm like, this isn't the original Peter North suction
Especially since it's shaped like a vagina.
penis pump.
Yeah, there's counterfeit strings too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
But you know,
I've always played GHS since
you've been GHS guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
GHS.
I always
remember
used to
that.
break. Those broke on me all the time for some reason.
I've had them on guitars for years.
I don't know what it is. It's like, everyone says, these break for them, some don't, but
Yeah.
it'll break for some people do Darius. Oh, they break on me. I said, they never fucking break on me.
I never have a problem with GHS breaking, and then they have like a real kind of metallic sound.
Are they the boomers or?
Yeah, boomers.
So I'm a D'Addario
Tens.
guy, but I will say this: most of the strings, when Gibson used to make their own strings out of the Elgin factory is it Chicago? Where that factory was? I think it was in Elgin, Illinois. I mean, outside of Chicago. Anyways, when they made strings there, they were fantastic strings. GHS makes fantastic strings. I think Dean Markley makes very good strings. I think DR strings I didn't care for. I always felt they were just nothing special. And I never cared. And Ernie Ball, I would never put on my guitars because I put them on once for a gig at the Whiskey. And I put them on at rehearsal. We were doing a quick rehearsal because we had to do a couple of new songs. I played it, and everyone was like, all right, now we're going to go to the Rainbow and eat. And I'm like, and I'll meet you there because I got to run to the store and get some D'Addarios and get these fucking strings off my guitar. It feels terrible. It just felt wrong. So I've been a D'Addario guy since 91, maybe.
Yeah, I used to use Ernie Balls when I had a few guitars on my Ibanez with the trem. It was set up with that, and I won't change it in Darius because I don't feel like setting up that damn trem. It's just
That's not bad.
So that's the only
I
thing
agree.
that
It's a good one. That's a good one. Anyways, strings is one of those things. And the other thing is when people talk string gauges and everything, I always find it, and just so Krellbar knows, because he knows already being on the show now for 3 years, it annoys me. I don't care. No one cares what you're using. Billy Gibbons uses 7s. So
Yeah, I was about to say.
Stevie Ray used 13s. I don't care what anyone's using. You know what? I'm just going to be Juan Guzman from Boogie Nights right now to Don Cheadle. Play what you did. Play what you did.
I like this.
Kurt Mangan,
I like
I've
the
never
ease
tried
of just
those.
having one gauge for all. That's
Billy
one gauge,
does use
one brand.
7s. At West LA, we used to keep 7 singles in stock.
Kurt Mangan,
because of that.
He used to work for Ernie Ball, and then he ended up leaving there and making his own strings. And he definitely makes his own strings in his own thing. And I tried them before; they're good, but you're going to pay more for it, man. It's
The other thing is there's some string companies out there that claim they make their own strings. And they do make their own strings. Unfortunately, they only make a few SKUs. And the rest of their SKUs are filled in by another company that can handle the load that they're doing. And this had happened to me because I had a pack of strings from a company. We opened them up and I'm like, wait a second. I know this packaging all too well. And then I called them out on it. And they were like, well, we make this SKU and this SKU at our factory. And then all the other SKUs come from, and because of that, they say they can make their own, they make their own strings, which they do, but they don't make them all. You know? Anyways, so
it's like saying 100% beef. You know, it's like, yeah, the beef that's in it is 100%. The fillers, you know.
What about acoustic strings though? Do you have a different brand preference?
I usually
I use the same brand.
Well, I was using the elixirs on acoustics. I like how they sound, but David mentioned the Darios, and I ended up buying those, and he gave me a couple sets too, and those are working fine. Right, those hold up.
Well, they should be working the same.
Yeah. What does Bonamassa use? I know, whatever has the most mojo. You had to mention Bonamassa. Oh, what's the oldest string? Vintage strings. You know? Yeah, why don't they do that? You know, it's like, oh well, here's this 1958 Gibson. It still has the original strings. We're not going to pull it off. That's a vintage string.
Yeah,
rusted by then. Sure.
No, but he's just talking about the absurdity of the vintage market.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like for crying out loud. Yeah, I mean, there was a video that Glenn
Fricker?
What's it? Frick? Yes, Fricker? He did a video and he was talking about guitar pickups. And his point is right on. I just thought he took a long road to get to the point. And the point is that pickups, they don't really matter. I mean, they matter to a certain point of what you're looking for. But once you set up like your amp, like if you're a metal guy and you want that ultra compressed sound, well, then a high output pickup might be for you. But the problem is you can easily achieve a much better sound with a low output pickup and some type of boost on a pedal, because then you don't have the compression of that a pickup will give you from all those whines and what goes on and what you lose. So, I mean, to me, I don't even like getting in somebody called me the other day and they were like, oh, I got this pickup and it's not sounding the way I want. I'm like, then get rid of it. Well, I wanted your opinion. What does my fucking opinion matter? What does it matter? What do you care what I think of the pickup or your other pickup? I'm like, what if I tell you I hate that pickup? Well, then I would go, what does my opinion matter? You know what I mean? It's like, what do I care? EMG pickups are cool. So EMGs are really, really hyper underwound pickups. And they basically work the same way a condenser microphone would work, whereas you need the voltage to actually drive the sound because there's not enough current.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense to people. I don't know.
No, that's why you got to put the battery in.
That's correct.
You need a preamp with it.
On a passive pickup, the signal is moving with current. And right, it's right. Is that how it moves through current?
Well, actually, it's voltage. It creates a voltage. It creates an amplitude. And
yeah, but
there's a slight current. There's a slight current that's very little that passes it through. But I mean, like ultimately, when you're talking about like generating a signal, it's amplitude. It's not current. That's what creates.
All right, well, whatever it does. However, see, if you have a microphone, that's usually something that's anyways, when it's underwound, it's not strong enough to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put it through a preamp, some type of amplifier, which is what the battery does. And the EMGs have to go through a preamp. That's basically what you're dealing with. They sound nice, and they're very, very little compression, if any, because that's going to be the clearest thing. But because of that, you lose the character of how you hear an electric guitar. Like if you plug in like a regular Gibson Les Paul into a Marshall, that pickup with the resistance that it has a character. And if you take away all its compression and all its character, it just becomes, in my opinion, a little stale. I mean, it's very nice for cleans. I love it for clean. I think for dirty, it's not necessarily a better pickup.
I don't find EMGs lifeless. I find that the one I had with EMGs, they tend to have this high end that's kind of picky, ice picky. That I think. I mean, I like them. I mean, it's like, but yeah,
it's just like a microphone. You know, like a microphone.
Yeah. I don't find them lifeless though.
I have an 85 in the bridge, a Friedman class. What my other stock was in. Exactly. That's what I mean, Bingham. It really is. Just
you have a comparison? I didn't know you had a comparison. No,
yeah.
That's a high end. Matthias plays.
What about the Duncan distortion pickup? What year did that thing come out? And because you hear stories about guys with old Gibsons and they take the original PAFs out.
There wasn't a Duncan.
80s.
It was Simon.
It's a DiMarzio.
DiMarzio super distortion.
It's the super distortion. It was 74.
Ace Frehley had that in his.
Came out in 74.
And
Everyone
those
wanted
things
that.
were wound. Was that at the time the hottest wound pickup that you could get your hands on back in those days?
Well, it was definitely hotter than the PAFs and the.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the resistance was. What is the resistance on that? I know it's an Alnico 2.
I bet they were like 16.
No,
and I'm trying to think.
Not that much. I would say 12, 13. Kilograms.
Crowbars on the search.
Yeah. So okay, what are they saying here?
Yeah, super distortion.
Just give me the ohm reading. That way, I'll just figure out how many. What's going on?
Okay. Okay. Where the fuck is the specs? There we go. 13.68.
Okay. Yeah. So that's hot.
So what did I say? 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily
1972.
more wines than a Gibson, like a PAF. It's actually DiMarzio. I don't know if it's on that pickup, but classic DiMarzio thing is they use 43 gauge wire, whereas Gibson pickups is 42 gauge. Well, 42 gauge is going to compress less. There's more signal that can go through it. It's a thicker wire. So 43 is going to always have a little bit higher output because it's more compression.
See, Bingham.
And
singles are wifeless. Yeah, if you're wifeless, you are single.
Yeah, you make a good point, Dave. It's more than just the resistance. It's how many. I mean, if you have thinner wire, there's going to be a higher resistance.
Right.
So
Well, no,
there's going to be
more
less
things
winding. So
yes. I mean, you have capacitance, resistance. You have the voltage,
inductance.
Yeah, but you're going to have the voltage is going to be the actual output, and is measured in millivolts.
Well, it's a voltage drop basically over the resistance. So
yeah, but I'm saying the resistance will really just tell you the character of the pickup, like how much compression, in my opinion. A low output pickup, like a 7 to an 8 is a pretty low output pickup.
I would say you're dead on because it's basically a filter circuit. When you have a resistance and a capacitance, depending, it's a high pass or low pass filter. I can't remember. I think if you take it off the resistance, it's high pass, and the capacitor, it's low pass.
I like the Fred too. The thing with the Fred was it was very clever. That was a guy, Steve Blucher at DiMarzio, designed this pickup. And, the original PAF pickup took them long enough to figure out, but, there was 2 coils. Let's just say they're 5,000 turns, or supposed to be. Mm-hmm. One was underwound, one is overwound. So they mismatch. And because they mismatch the poles, I mean, what do you call it? The bobbins were mismatched. Because of that, the cancellation was really the 60 cycle hum, but you didn't cancel out some of the harmonics and some of the other things going on in the pickup because they weren't a perfect mirror image of each other. So that was kind of what they figured out was part of the magic of the PAF, which is what Burstbuckers did. So what DiMarzio did with the Fred was they made the master coil a 42 gauge wire and the slave coil 43 gauge wire and wound them the same. So they're way off from each other in resistance and dynamic and sound. And because of it, you have all these open harmonics and it sounds great.
Eric Johnson says 8.9K is where most of the great Hada PAFs live. Well, let me tell you, as far as pickups,
8.5 is like yeah.
Instead of looking for a higher output pickup, basically find something with an output somewhere there and get your gain from the amp. Turn the amp up. Instead, high output through the pickup, turn the amp up.
No. See, what you're missing is like when guys, the pickup and all the output shit, if you're somewhere between 7.5 and 9.5, what the fuck matters? Because if you're going to play it through a Marshall, or let's say you're going to play like Brian May in the old days through the Vox, you're still going through a treble boost.
Yeah, and all you can
so no matter what signal you're putting in the treble boost, until you hear the sound you want, you're dialing it in. You're basically taking his signal and you're increasing it and pushing it into the face of the amp.
Yeah, it's
so the pickup at
outside
that
of
point,
the pickup. Yeah, it's like, but
then the pickup becomes moot if it's anywhere between 7.5 and 9.5. It's close enough. There's really not a lot of compression.
And like
going
you said,
on.
What you do is that the higher the resistance and stuff, bigger the voltage drop, it's going to push the amp more, and it's going to compress because it's overdriving it.
Right, but I'm saying if you have those pickups in that range, it doesn't matter because you're going to go through a treble boost anyways, and the treble boost is going to take that signal and right at the and
that's if you're going through the treble boost though. But the whole
thing they all did.
It's not all of them did.
Who didn't?
Yeah, maybe name ones that didn't.
No, because they're using some form of pedal to go in. No one's just plugging straight into their amp.
Well, there were some that were plugging straight in and just cranking the fuck out of it.
You're cranking the amp, but you still need to drive the front end. That's why we sit and talk about the treble boost or the tone zone.
It's a good question. I'd have to see who didn't.
Or we talk about the Boss. What's the Boss pedal that I like?
Yes.
What is it?
The S1, the original distortion.
Yeah. No, not the S.
SD?
No, it's the overdrive. Overdrive. What is that?
SD1.
SD1. Thank you. The SD1.
The yellow one.
Right. People put a tube screamer in front of a Marshall. They put an SD1 in front of a Marshall. They put a once you do that, you're taking the pickup, whatever your pickup is. At that point, you don't have to worry about output. You're only worrying about compression. If you're going to play through EMGs, you're not going to have very much compression going into that. That's what you like. I like that spongy sound, that low Gibson output. I mean, Van Halen's PAF sound. All those guys played.
Ooh, John, you don't like the tone zone, huh? I actually like the tone zone. It's kind of mid-heavy, I think. It's like it tends to.
Yeah, but here's a funny thing. So years ago, a buddy of mine had a JCM 900 2500 amp. If you guys are familiar with this, it's a 50 watt, no reverb. It's basically this in a 50 watt. And he wanted to compare it to my buddy's 2210 Marshall. And at the time, I had just bought a dual rectifier, not this one, but the version 1. And I said, hey, Janice. So we all got into one of the rehearsal rooms and we lined up all the amps. And at the same time, we were doing pickup stuff. So we were like testing different pickups. And my buddy had a collection of PAF. So we put a PAF. And in my Kramer Beretta at the time, I had the, I forget the model of the pickup, but it's a great fucking pickup. What's the company in Germany that makes all the hardware?
Oh, a Goto.
Schaller. It was a Schaller pickup. The fucking thing sounded amazing. I ended up buying a Fred. I put the Fred in, and I'm like, I like the Fred a little bit better. But I already bought the Fred and I already installed it. Had I known the difference was going to be not that much, I would have been like, I'll keep it in this. I mean, I'm saying you are splitting hairs most of the time when you put it doing this stuff. But anyways, I ended up loving the Fred, and I could get it I can get it in mass production, you know, like mass quantities. So I have it a bunch of different guitars now. And that Schaller is hard to come by. It was only made in the 80s. If somebody remember, I think it's called Golden Era. If anyone remembers the name of the Schallers that they put in the Kramers, I think they're called Golden Era or the Schaller something, Gold Era. I can't remember.
I never knew Schaller either.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yes, Bingham. That's what we're saying, but it doesn't matter about that once you go through a pedal, because then that pedal is going to drive that front end, and then your pickup, your volume of your pickup, the way it, you know, like everything is just going to be slamming into that, which is the reason why you want it, that pedal, or whatever the hell it is. But anyways, yeah.
Just says Shala pickup.
Nah, you got to look up.
Yeah, I know.
Just type in Gold Era, Golden Age, maybe Gold Age. I can't remember. And it might be called.
But just put Gold Schaller.
No, because it's not going to pickup. You have to put pickup, or else you're going to sit there and
Gold
get nothing but
Schaller
hard.
pickups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's gold plated ones. So it's great.
Yeah. And no one knows.
Golden 50s.
Thank you very much. That's the name of the fucking pickup. All right. Excellent. What do you got there, sir?
It's a box of pickups.
Oh, let's take a look at what you got in your junk drawer.
Junk.
That looks like a little mini hum that came out of a Gibson. It's got the back.
I would think that's wrong, Eric. I wouldn't look at it like that. I do drink coffee, yeah, in the morning with butter and oil. What is that?
Some sort of a mini hum.
Oh, it's a mini bucker.
Yeah, with the back plate and everything.
Movies and steaks. Oh, I had a good steak tonight, John. What pickup is that? Mojo Tone.
Yeah.
I like Mojo Tone stuff. Oh, yeah. That's the POS.
Piece of shit?
Oh, yeah. It's the noiseless pickup, right?
It's the toneless one, too.
Yeah.
It's like they put a towel over the top of it.
Is that an EMG? What is that? Do you guys remember the company that competed with EMG in the 80s in the active pickup market?
No.
PJ Marks?
No.
No.
I think they were called Reflex.
Reflex. I think PJ Marks did too, though. PJ Marks had some active.
What is this?
Golden Age for a bass.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
thought I had one of these.
That's a Schaller? No, that's Golden Age is
Golden
Is
50s was the Schaller.
yeah, Golden Age. Isn't that what's the company out in Texas that sells parts?
All parts?
Okay, so not all parts. What's the one with Dan Erlewine?
Oh, fuck.
Stumac.
That's what that is.
Golden Age is Stumac, huh?
Yeah, I think it's a Stu Mac brand.
What about Bill Lawrence? You guys ever try any Bill Lawrence stuff?
I was
never
never a
played Bill
fan. Do you like Bill Lawrence stuff?
I've never really had him.
So Bill, the pickup that he just held up there, that noiseless Fender pickup, was designed by Bill Lawrence, and it's just awful. That's
And
my
I think
only experience.
Dimebag used Bill
Oh, that's-
Lawrence in his.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
And I think Nuno did too, didn't he? In the Washburn.
He did. Probably the same
I
pickup.
remember that. Yeah.
Bartolini.
This is
pickups.
Pat Bartolini. No, Bartolini pickups. What the hell is that?
Lipstick tubes.
And a
Look at that,
humbucker?
mini vibrators.
More golden.
What does it
age.
say? Alnico what? 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, 5. I mean, all this shit is just ridiculous branding stuff.
More golden age.
Because didn't Gibson make the burst buckers and then they were like, oh, now we're using Alnico 3s, so now they're the custom buckers? It's like, really? Who's playing drums?
Oh, sorry,
Not
that was
me.
me.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's Ohio.
That is a what the hell is that? Is
that a Schaller? What is that?
you got to focus in on that label, man.
No, it's not on the white. It's engraved in the back.
Oh, okay. Is it?
Isn't it? Or is that just filth?
That's an import. I think that's probably an import.
It's just a filthy one.
Pickup smegma.
It's a filthy pickup. So
Focus.
I tell you what, why don't you just read to us what it says on there?
Yeah. We can. Yeah, that's a hot pickup according to the pen mark in it, the Sharpie.
There's another lace.
I like those guys.
Anyhow,
over at
random
Lace.
pickups.
Don Lace and all those guys. I like all those guys.
Now, what's the one that everyone was seeking? Was it the Reds or the?
Oh yeah. The early ones, yeah. In fact, last time I called Don, this is how he responded.
Fuck you, Dave.
He actually gave me a set of Illumitones, and I was like, yeah, I just can't see myself putting these in a fucking guitar.
That's when he said, "Fuck you, Dave."
He did. He was like, fuck you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Interesting. Anyways, tonight I wanted to discuss, and Bingham's here. We talk about all these great fucking records. And I was sitting there saying, I think some of these records that are not as good as others maybe have better production, and production helps them along the way. And then some albums would have done better, I think, if the production were better. But if you listen to like Judas Priest, people talk about like, Stained Class is just as good as. Well, no, it's not. And the production stinks. You know how you know the production stinks? Because the fucking live record sounds better. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what's true with Kiss Alive too. The studio,
absolutely.
Studio albums sucked as far as the production.
Well, I think the first one was good. I just think that maybe the songs were a little slow. They were lifeless.
So sterile, though. It sounded like they were like, "We've got to get it perfect. It's got to be
right."
It's like everything was just like there was no feel to it. It was just very clinical sounding.
I would say the same goes for the second 3 records.
Yeah.
And Kiss Alive 2 sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
But like Judas Priest, like it's funny, those recordings, I listen to them and I'm like, man, the guitars are so mid-rangey and bassy. And they're never bright. And then you get to like the live record and everything's bright and big. And then British Steel comes out and they stick with that brighter sound, clearer sound. And same with the Scorpions. I was listening to Uli's sound was always good, but the other guy, Rudolph's sound, didn't get good until they got the better production, that 80s production.
Okay. John Taylor just brings up a good point. Yeah. Kiss Alive was a studio album, so to speak, because they went in and they fixed so much shit in the studio. But
but the thing is,
that was the sound they should have been going for on the other albums.
That's right. And I never have an issue with that. Like, I know Halford tries to say that, something happened to the tape and I had to go in and do vocals over for Unleashed in the East. And let me translate that for everyone. I fucking sucked and I wanted to fix it.
Exactly.
I wasn't happy with myself and I wanted to fix it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that fucking record's fantastic. I've seen, here's what I always say about live shows. Live shows should be played and forgotten. Right now, we're in the worst time in the world because everyone can film every little clip of you. And it's like, live things are going to happen. Some magic's going to happen and some tomfoolery's going to happen. And things are going to sound like shit and things are going to sound good. And that should not be released as a record. A record should be a finished product that gives you I don't even care if it gives you the illusion that it's a full live record. Fix the parts and then put it out. So I have no problem with any of that. Like, Kiss Alive's a fucking great record. Would I like it better if it was actually a real live record? No, because I would hear the flaws in it too.
People would stop taking their phone out, recording big concerts and putting them on YouTube. I wish they would just stop doing that.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Because, the other night when I got to open for Stephen Pearcy and you're in the bar and you're watching Stephen Pearcy at the whiskey, 30 feet in front of you or something, he was kicking ass. But if you watch that on your computer the next day from somebody's phone, you're like, this dude needs to retire. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. It's the point of you're there in the moment. You're there enjoying yourself. It's a live thing. Everyone's having a great time.
It's nice and loud. Everything sounds
good. But if you were to go take it apart and then watch it maybe without a drink in you, or in the comfort of your own lazy boy chair, you're going to be like, yeah, this wasn't.
The more you drink, the better we sound.
Yeah. Well, some of these guys are starting to crack down on it and not allowing people to have the phones. It's like if you're holding up a phone during the show, a guy comes in and will take it from you,
Right.
There was that time when Rob Halford kicked that guy in the front row. You remember that? It's probably been 4 or 5 years ago now, but there was a guy in the front row with his phone like this. Rob Halford's like, boom, just kicked the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny though, but when you think about it though, like AC/DC, right? The last album that the brothers, that Vonda and Young produced was Power Ridge. And then Atlantic said, you guys need a real producer. We need an American sound. You needed it bigger. And you guys know who they sent?
Mutt Lang.
Yeah.
No.
Glance Johns.
They sent Eddie Kramer.
Oh.
And Angus called the studio like 2 days later saying, if you don't get this fucking guy the hell out of here, we're going to kill him. Mm-hmm. They hated him. They hated Eddie Kramer. And at the time, then they were like, Mutt, you got to get out there. You're going out to the Bahamas. Hey, listen, I have a job for you. You're going to have to suffer through. You have to go to the Bahamas and record AC/DC. It was like a cloud of dust, right? He's already at the airport.
30, 40 years ago, you never heard somebody's demo tape. You only heard the finished product. And now because of these cell phones, there's all these, and people getting a hold of these old tapes and putting them on YouTube. Now you can hear all these, old versions of songs that just haven't even been completely written yet.
Well, sometimes though you can hear some raw guitar playing stuff that may have been actually better than what ended up on the album. Sometimes that happens.
Well, I was listening to what was that?
No, I was just wondering because like some of this stuff had to be on like cassette, and this is something I've been wondering is like, did they make? And I've seen one before, but I don't know where to find it. Like a device where you can convert a cassette into like digital and make it like onto.
I'm sure there is.
I know there is. I just don't know what it is or where to get it.
Oh, and it's like a RCA, and then it converts and I think goes into USB. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of analog to digital converter.
There's been times where I've taken my cassette player and my old cassettes to my buddy's recording studio, and we would just run them into 2 channels.
Oh, something happened.
We just lost you, Dane.
Yeah. So, I was listening to today. Dawkins came on while I was doing cardio. Alone Again. You guys know Alone Again?
Of course.
I'm alone again. Right. First of all, The acoustic guitar in the beginning is like acoustic and electric, like they're like sided, but you can totally hear that one's electric, one's acoustic. The solo comes in, and it's so fucking loud. It's so funny how they produced shit back then. And I also thought the vocals were way too loud. But overall, I was like, this production isn't as good as later production for them, which I think I just think they would have been a much bigger band, because I remember as a kid loving that record. I think the songs are all good, but with a better producer, I think that could have been a better thing for them. I heard another song today. I'm trying to remember what the hell it was, and I was like, oh, I know what it was. I talked about this. We talk about The Last in Line and Holy Diver. Which is the better album?
Holy Diver.
I think so. I think it just has better songs. But the production on Last in Line is really much better. There's a song called, it was a song I heard today. I couldn't even tell you what it was called.
I would say the same thing about Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell. I think the production's better on Mob Rules.
It's drier on Heaven and Hell, but it's the same producer. I just think that was more. Mob Rules sounds more alive. It's got more reverb. There's definitely more room. I would call that they play in the room. The room, it has like a room reverb sound. Yeah, like you feel like you're in a live band situation.
It sounds more powerful to me. Yeah.
I don't know if I would equate that with power.
Well,
ask, what is the pic of the halogen below the halogen lamp in the corner? The picture below the halogen lamp.
Oh, to the left, it looks like a planet, something like that.
Oh, that's a picture. It's like a picture of the moon or something. It's a painting. It fell off my wall, so I put it up on the guitar stand. And then, it's like a moon. It's like a painted thing. Wait, here's Dane. But hold on, Dane. Just give me 1 second, then we'll go back to what we were talking about when you were here. So the what was the song I just said?
Something from Dio's Last in Line.
Oh, the Dio album from Last in Line. When the solo came in, the tone of his guitar is fucking horrible. And I don't know how there's a producer in the world who made that record sound so good. The drums, the bass, the rhythm guitar, everything on that record sounds great. The lead comes in and I'm like, this fucking guy let this on the record? It doesn't make any
Last
sense.
in Line, it's a very dry.
It doesn't. The guitar tone is. It sounds like a fucking wah pedal half cocked. I'm looking up the album now so I can say what the song is.
Mystery.
No, it wasn't a huge hit.
Mystery was a huge hit.
There's always a mystery.
Yeah, I think it was
bigger than
may have been bigger than Last in Line. I think because Last in Line came on as the first single. And
the song is called. Now that I'm looking, I'm like, wait, was it I Speed at Night? I think it was I Speed at Night. Yeah.
With a name like that, it's not a slow solo.
Well, it wasn't the fact of the speed. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now because I have to hear it for a second.
I do also love Don't Talk to Strangers. That's such a good tune.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
Don't Talk to Strangers. Holy Diver. And I think. Oh, my God.
My internet's messing up.
It's that song, I Speed at Night. The recording sounds so good. And that solo comes in, and it's like, and Vivian Campbell here, satellite. We're satelliting him in from Guitar Center in Northridge. Here he is. Play the solo on a
Line 6
on a Blues Junior with the tone knob turned all the way down. It just sounds. I hate it.
That's how that new Ozzy song sounds. Patient number 9. Oh, we got Jeff Beck to play the guitar part, and it's like. It's not even the same song for one.
Oh yeah, Jeff Beck's on it. I haven't. The song's terrible.
Jeff Beck played on an Ozzy song.
Yeah. Brian May plays on one, doesn't he?
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
It's like there was one that I was surprised to hear on there.
All he says, you can tell it's Jeff Beck. All you have to do is close your eyes. Close. How's the TSL doing in rehearsal? Speed for Hire wants to know.
It's a little bit noisy. We rehearsed yesterday, and the guitar player's having a good time. He's not complaining about it. Everything is really cool. We were writing a song yesterday, and
he has Clapton on tracks. He has Mike McCready on tracks. Tony Iommi, Jeff Beck, Zach Wild, Andrew Watt, whoever the hell that is. Joss Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. Your boy Duff McGagan on bass there, Dave. Oh.
3 chords and the truth. Oh my God. I had an ordeal today. So they keep calling me ever since I canceled Sirius, which was last month. I said my
Are you serious?
Subscription runs out January 16th. I just want you to cut it off. I'm not doing any. So they were like, why? And I'm like, well, you just sent me a bill for $27 a month when you told me last year it was going to be $9.99 a month. Oh, well, we could do this promotion. I said, you know what? You guys do this all the time. Like, if I didn't see it, you would have charged me. But I saw the mail, and now I'm telling you to go fuck yourself. So I canceled. Mm-hmm. Since then, every day they've been calling my phone. And it comes right up on my phone, Sirius Satellite, Sirius XM. And the second I answer, they hang up. Today, they called, and the woman was there. She's like, oh, hello? And I'm like, yeah, what do you want? So we want to offer you this. And of course, she sounds like she's from another place, not from the United States. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to explain to me the promotion they wanted me now to do $40 for 6 months. I said, you think I want to deal with you in 6 months down the road again? Are you out of your fucking minds?
Just give me a
I'm like, why? You've been calling my phone every day and hanging up on me. The woman's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was on a rant. It was unbelievable. The woman ended up hanging up on me. Have you ever got hung up by Sirius? I said to her, and tell your fucking DJs to shut their fucking mouths when a song starts playing. Everybody left terrestrial radio to hear the music, not hear some jackass talking over the fucking song. And you guys brought him back on your thing. And by then I hear click. I was like, that's good. I wouldn't have taken it either. So then, I got in a mood today because there's a place here called Bob's Stores. You guys have those in Florida, Matt? Bob's? I know you know where they are, Krell.
Yep.
I ordered 3 things online from them. The first time they sent me a shirt I ordered. I wanted this Red Sox shirt they had. I was like, I love this shirt. I want to get it in a large. So I get it, and it comes in, and it has like the large sticker on it. I'm like, and then I hold it up, and I'm like, this thing could go on an elephant, and it says XL on the collar. So I'm like, they tagged it wrong. So I tell them I have to bring it back. I order it again. Same fucking thing happens. I also order a pair of sneakers from them, which came today, and I ended up calling them and go, listen, this is 3 times in a row. I ordered all black sneakers. You sent me these black with this neon green. So the woman's just like, she's being nice, but I'm like, you guys, all you're saying to me, I go, all you're trying to do is make me right. That's what a court does. But you're a business who fucked up. You should try to win me back over. Mm. You know what I mean? Even if it's like, hey, here's $5 off the next time.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's anything to say, hey, sorry, we fucked up, but they don't. And I said, listen, you guys just suck. I ended up going to the store to return it because it's only right up the street from me. And that's not why I buy it online, because my store is only one store. They pick from all the stores if there was something that I wanted. So I dropped it off there today, and the woman at the store was just fucking great. She was just like, oh, they suck. Anyway, so then I was like, you know what? There's a pair of sneakers right there that I like. Whatever the difference is, let me pay it and get the hell out of here. So I got a new pair of sneakers today, but I did have some abuse time on the phone with 2 companies. Serious.
I always get extra credits from friggin' Amazon too for stuff.
Well, yeah, but they give them to you if you ask. If you sit and piss and moan. But I'm like sitting there going, how can you guys send me 3 times? She's like, oh, maybe those warehouse workers work. I go, don't defend them. I go, obviously you guys were out and they were like, yeah, see if this jackass likes this ugly pair. I get it. She was like, you know what? You're probably right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Say, some people they'll say, oh, I'll just settle for that. What the fuck?
Right. I was like, I'm like, I am not wearing these ridiculous sneakers. Anyways, so that was, but anyway, so Sirius XM can fuck themselves. Especially, I'll tell you what really turned me off. It's when they have the thing on Ozzy's Boneyard and the guy says, Judas Priest is the first metal band, whatever. Fuck you. How can you sit there? In 74, they came out with Rock and Roller, which isn't even a metal album. And Sabbath already had fucking 5 or 6 albums already in the can. What the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, an idiot.
It's insane. Judas Priest. It's that comedian guy from New York. He's got that heavy accent. I wish I could think of Joe something. Judas Priest is the first metal band. When I think of metal, is that what you do? Like, do I have to listen to this? Do I have to take this abuse from Sirius?
Hey, Snowball, it depends. I mean, like you can get better prices on internet, even with the tax and usually free shipping. You're doing better off than going to the actual store. But in some cases, you're right, though.
No, but with Sirius, my bitch to them was every year they bust my balls and try to raise the price until you argue with them. So then their comeback is, how about $40 for 6 months? So I said right away, I'm like, I don't want to deal with you in 6 months. The fuck am I going to talk? I got to talk to you again? No.
I had a free 3 months when I bought my car back in 2017, and I wasn't impressed enough with it to actually pay something for it. And not only that, I have the problem with the weak signal. Every now and then it cuts out. It says weak. And it's like, I'm not going to pay for this. But then they just kept on coming with down to like $4.99 a month. But I knew exactly.
The leads a week.
Yeah, but I knew what you said. I knew exactly what they're going to come back and jack it up and hope I don't notice it. And, it's like free trials. Free trials.
Earl Bowen died.
Who?
You know the actor Earl Bowen?
Name sounds
the guy
familiar.
from Terminator.
Yeah, he's in Terminator. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's great.
Yeah. He died a few days ago. It was like several.
Oh, my brother just told me.
No, yeah, it's been a few days.
Let me just see something here. Yeah, Earl Bowen.
That guy,
Sarah Connor's shrink.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's great.
Yeah, he's in tons of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know where Chuck is, but we're gonna move on and talk about listening to a lot of music lately. I put on the album Leftoverture by Kansas because I was listening to Kansas, and I was like, man, Carry On My Wayward Son came out in 1976. And you think about it, Boston was out at the same time with More Than a Feeling and that whole album. Mm-hmm. Aerosmith came out with Rocks, Last Child, Back in the Saddle. Mm-hmm. You had Steely Dan came out with The Royal Scam. Kiss had 2 albums, Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over.
Mm-hmm. Frampton Comes Alive.
Was that 76? Yes, it was.
I think that was.
Yeah, because 77 he did I'm in You.
Day at the Races.
Queen. Day at the. Just think about how much fucking music came out. If you were like in your early 20s or late teens in 76, the amount of music that's coming out was just fucking crazy.
What did Kiss do that year? Was that Destroyer?
And Rock and Roll Over. They did 2 albums. Yeah. Nicholas Bradford, Adam Rich died at 54 years old.
Oh, I used to see him at Gold's Gym.
Yeah,
remember?
Passed away. Yeah.
Ooh, wonder what killed him.
Willie Ames. I'm just kidding.
What about Black Sabbath? What did Sabbath have in 76?
76 was Technical Ecstasy. Right? That's before Never Say Die, right? Never Say Die is the last one with Ozzy? Yeah, so Technical Ecstasy is 76.
What was the Pink Floyd album?
Nothing. It was between...
No, Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here, 75.
That was 75?
Animals is 77.
Oh, okay. 75. Yeah, it was 75.
Here's Chuck now.
Yeah, we got Star Wars.
Bringing him in. Chuck, what's happening, sir?
Call Roll Rooter. That's the name.
And the name again is Mr. Plow.
Bring your snake.
So we were talking about 76. Just started talking about it because we held off for you.
Well, I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
There's a crazy amount of music when you think about the music that these kids are listening to today, and you watch you know what? Forget about the hard rock stuff that we like, because Deep Purple, I think, had a record in 76, or was it Come Taste the Band? And there was Rainbow had Rising. So all the hard rock stuff's happening and going crazy, but forget about that. Look at what was on the radio and winning awards. Seals and Crofts, Get Closer. England Dan and John Ford Coley, I'd really love to see you tonight, was also #1 that year. There's just so much great music. And then you look at like what goes on today. Like I had a gig on New Year's at Martini's, and I'm playing guitar and I'm watching the New Year's celebration and these bands and like these people dancing, and everyone's like, it's like everyone's just doing like a sped up version of Michael Jackson's Zombie Dancing. They're all like, moving around, and everyone's like, it's almost like a circus show. It's not music. They're just dancing and lip syncing. You know what I mean?
What was did REO Speedwagon have that live album that year? You Get What You Play For, or whatever that one was?
I don't know.
Or was that Tuna Fish? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
I think that was later. I don't know. I'm heterosexual, so I don't know a lot of REO stuff. Thank you, folks. I'm here all week.
So Frampton Comes Alive was 76, right?
Yep.
It very much was.
That was huge, man. That album was huge.
Let's see what songs are on it.
I mean, I'm not even a big fan, but I read his biography, and it's pretty interesting, man. It's like that, after that crested and started to come down, it was like there was, he could not top that. He could not do, anything to keep that high that album created.
Oh, yeah. It was Jack Tripper's favorite album.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a reference where he talks about Frampton Comes.
What's that?
A lot of guys had 15. Ed Dana was 16. I mean, think about could you imagine Aerosmith comes out with the album Rocks? Like, it's a great fucking hard rocking album, but you didn't have any of the crappy Aerosmith at that point. They're 4 albums deep, and every album's fantastic. You had it's unreal to me to think how good those people, and
Charlie. Joe Perry was playing the bass 6 on that.
Yes, he was. Did you see my video where I play it?
I think
I teach it. I teach it on my channel on the bass 6. I have a bass 6 in a case over here.
I did see that 10 years ago.
Yeah. But I just think it's ridiculous when you see what bands are playing today. Even if you go to the 90s where the music was decent, it still wasn't across all genres. Like in the 70s when we were kids, right? Like today, everything's so divisive as far as that's country, that's rock, that's who the hell am I? That's you, Chuck. You got to mute for a sec because I'm coming through your thing. You got country, you got rock, you have all these separate things. But when we were kids, I mean, I remember listening to the radio and fucking Walk This Way would be on the radio, and the next song would be fucking Charlie Rich. Was it Charlie Rich? Hey, have you had that happened?
No, Charlie Pride.
No, Charlie Pride is Kiss an Angel Good Morning, right?
I don't know.
Who's the black country artist? Is that Pride or Rich?
That's Pride. That's Pride.
So Charlie Rich is the one that sang
the Silver Fox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who was hammered at the awards, but he was country, and he was doing, what was the other big song he did? When You Get Behind Closed Doors, right?
That was him.
fucking great. All the songs back then, like even disco was kicking in, and I liked disco. I loved all that shit.
I didn't back then.
Earth, Wind, and Fire had It Was Saturday Night, the Moon was in 76. They did the album. I think it's called Spirit. Thank you. It was Saturday night, the moon was Saturday night. Oh, Getaway is on that record. I think Skin Tight might be from 76, which is Ohio Players. Fantastic. All that stuff back then. There was so much country going on with what's the guy who sang Raindrops?
Tom T. Hall, right?
No, we just stop it with the Tom T. fucking Hall.
He was terrible.
BJ Thomas.
BJ Thomas.
BJ Talk. Yeah. Here's a song about BJ Thomas. Tom T. Hall had the one song where he talked through the whole song. He only talks. Yeah. I'll tell you who has a better voice, Monty Hall.
Yeah.
King of the Road is not Tom T. Hall.
I have no idea. It's like,
oh my God.
Friggin', I blocked this all.
What the hell's the guy's name who did King of the Road?
King of the Road.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
No.
Roger Whittaker?
Nobody?
No. Roger Miller.
Roger Miller. Thank you.
That's it.
All right. So, yeah, not Tom T. Tom T. Hall had that. What's the guy who did Tulsa Time? Don Williams.
Tom T. Hall.
Exactly.
It's the only version. Don Williams version.
And I love the song, I Believe in Love. He was fucking great. All that music, like we didn't care when I was a kid. It wasn't like, that's country. No one gave a shit. It was whatever the hell was, if it was good, it was good. You know? 77, you think?
Yeah, Wings Over America.
Great live album. In fact, that's the best version of Maybe I'm Amazed. That's a great record. That's another great live album. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy. His name is Paul McCartney. He had a band in the 60s, small little 4-piece out of Liverpool.
You know that guy with the Beatles there looks like a broad. That's from the
I knew it was from
Saturday Night
something.
Live with Frank Sinatra and Stevie Wonder doing Ebony and Ivory.
You are black
and I am white. You're as blind as a bat, and I've got sight.
Yeah. Mel Tillis. I liked Mel Tillis.
I started watching Cannonball 2. And Mel Tillis makes
you
a
admitted
cameo in that. I got through about a half an hour of it or so last night. It's got the two girls. It's got Barbara Bach and
Adrienne Barbeau
and Susan Anton, I think.
Oh yeah, all the A-listers.
Yeah,
Hollywood's A-list from 1982. Was Jack Klugman in this feature? I believe this is a Needham production.
The guy from MASH that played Klinger, he was the
Jamie Farr's the sheep.
Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, he had a big role in it.
Those movies were garbage, but I mean, it's like
the Burt Reynolds money.
I enjoyed it when I was a kid. It was funny stuff. Yeah, the best thing were the outtakes where Burt Reynolds is slapping the shit out of Dom DeLuise. It's like real slaps inside. He used to just hammer him all the time.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Rat Race?
I don't think so.
Who's in that?
Rat Race is John Cleese, and it's the same type of thing. Everyone's having that type of race, like Cannonball Run, except the movie's actually good.
When was that made?
You have to look it up. It's probably 90s, if that. Early 90s, maybe.
Is it like the Way Out Wacky Races?
Exactly. That was
Big Dastardly.
And what was that? What's the name of those cartoons?
Looney Tunes.
Pauline
Hanna-Barbera.
That is.
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera. Harold's a Pauline Pit Stop.
Oh, it's
That's
2001.
the Wacky Races. Muttley.
Yeah, That was Stop the Pigeon, Dastardly and Muttley.
Stop that pigeon.
Right, wasn't that the name of it? Stop the Pigeon? Stop that pigeon. Stop that.
No, it was
Wasn't that the name of
You
the
know, we're
cartoon?
just a bunch of old guys.
no,
just
it's
sort
called
of remembering
Dastardly and
the old
Muttley
days.
and their Flying Machines.
But the song was "Stop the Pigeon," wasn't
The
it?
song was, yeah.
What the hell does that have to do with Dastardly and Muttley?
That was the name of the show. It says
Just resin-
Dastardly and Muttley and their Flying Machines was the name of the show. And the name of the song in the opening was Stop the Pigeon.
Stop the pigeon, stop the pigeon. I love Hanna-Barbera. I make no
Yeah, well,
I think Horton Heat did a version of
Because of-
Stop the Pigeon.
because of Dawes Butler.
Who did? I do love dogs.
Reverend Horton Heat did a version.
Oh, they did?
Check it out. They did it. Stop the Pigeon. I'm telling
did?
you can find it. Reverend Horton Heat.
Race with the Devil
Oh,
on
okay.
Spanish Highway?
Mm.
Oh, don't.
They did a version of Stop That Pigeon.
You know what's funny, guys? How many of you guys have cars that have the USB port near the
Yeah.
radio?
Mhm.
No.
Well, my car does. My truck doesn't.
No? Chuck, do
I
you?
do.
Kind of under it.
Yeah, under it. There's the one that you
Yeah.
plug in. It's like for the phone. It'll connect your phone
Yeah.
to the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you could do is you could take a flash drive with MP3s, load them with
that's what I do.
MP3s, and stick it in, and then you have that whole library of. So I got probably 300 albums always queued up in my car if I want to go to the drive. Some reason there's so much stuff on the drive that the first minute in the car is rereading everything to make sure it's all there. You know what I mean? So if a song comes to an end, within the first minute of me being in the car, I left it on and it comes to an end, it always goes to fucking the opening song to Elegant Gypsy from El Di Meola.
Oh,
It drives me fucking nuts. But I had to have heard that song about 40 times this week.
what I don't understand is I put it on shuffle, and if I don't interfere, I will hear the same effing song. I have 1,000-something songs on my USB drive.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding? So what I do is I take it off shuffle, I move forward a couple, then hit shuffle again, see if that does something. But what I noticed, there's some sort of intelligence to it. It's like a Beatles song will come on, then a Beatles song will come on,
Well, that
then a
doesn't sound too
McCartney song
smart.
will, then a McCartney song come on. Out of all those songs, it's like it's following what I'm listening to. It's like, oh yeah, we'll play another McCartney song.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really random mine. I will listen to albums. The other day I listened to Mafia from Black Label Society. And then I listened to Blessed Hellride again. Mafia is not nearly as good. It's not nearly as, it's not even in the same. I mean, Suicide Messiah is a good tune, but whatever. But yeah. What were you saying today that you got when you in 76 when your sister got Leftoverture? What did you get?
Oh, I had, I had the Kiss records and all that stuff, and mostly because I was, a couple of years younger, so she had the more mature rock, and I had the more, kid-friendly rock. So,
What was the
Now you're
Styx
also
album?
a huge Kiss fan. I mean, you still are a pretty big Kiss
well,
fan.
not so much anymore. I mean, I still am, but I mean, after, I'd say I saw the Dynasty tour. I saw the Alive 2 tour. That was the first concert, it was like the Love Gun tour. And then I saw Dynasty. And then after that, they kind of started to go downhill for me. And I never got into the no makeup stuff.
No, okay, I know.
Well, that's like my brother too. I mean, it's like he was a big Kiss fan and stuff, and a lot of people that age, they were teenagers in the 70s, and they I mean, you don't see too many old Kiss fanatics. They're still fans. They'll go see Kiss and stuff, but they're not but other bands, they just remain big fans the rest of their life. I mean,
I don't think Unmasked was bad.
Oh, I did.
What songs are on there? Is Shandy on there?
Tomorrow, Shandy,
Oh, I thought I hated that.
Tomorrow. Three Signs of the Coin, Torpedo Girl. I like the Ace tunes on that album.
Yeah. I did go to the first reunion tour, though.
I went to that as well. That was
Yeah.
96. Yes.
Yeah, I still remember when my brother got that album unmasked. We went to Mammoth Mart and then went to Burger Chef afterwards.
And something happened
Those
to you
were
at that
days.
show in 96, Matt, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. I've got a good story for that. I wound up getting front row I saw that tour 3 times. The first one I was just in the, side. The second time I got a front row ticket because I had a friend that knew Gene Simmons. And so I'm up there, and at the end, Paul breaks the guitar, and he was just tossing half of it like behind him, and nobody was paying attention. I just put my hand up, and it flew right into my hand, and I grabbed it, and I like, whoa, shit, this is cool. Some kid runs down and says, "I'll give you $20 for that," and I'm like, "No, you won't." Yeah, So anyway, then they came to Chicago. Got another one. I got a VIP pass, a backstage pass. So I got all 4 guys to sign this piece of guitar. And Gene was walking, and he was walking back to the dressing room. He looks and he picks something off the bottom of his shoe, and he just throws it down. I look, and it was one of the studs off his costume, and it still has like fake blood on the back of it and stuff. But I still have the piece. I have it right here if you guys want to see it.
Yeah, let's see it. Hold on. I'll blow you up. Wait, what do you mean fake blood? That wasn't
$50.
You're destroying the illusion.
This is the piece.
Oh, it's part of the Iceman.
Part of the Iceman, yeah. So there is Gene.
Yeah.
There's Paul.
Star Child.
And that's the best for the lower horn.
There's
Well,
Ace.
Kind of
Ace
looks
Frehley.
a little like a penis.
And then Peter's is right here.
Right at the
Which-
tip of the penis.
Yeah, which is
The
kind
head,
of
we
his is
refer to it
facing the other way, but it's hard to see. But he signed it after the show, and I guess his niece, who I know, she said his hands are always really shaky, and he signed it after the show. But Gene actually signed it twice. He signed the back plate too.
That's
But,
very cool.
Yeah. So
All right, let's get some bidding going in the audience here in the chat.
Yeah.
What do we got for bids?
yes, actually, I'm thinking about parting with it because I've had it for 27 years now.
Really?
Yeah. Here's the
All right, then I'm serious,
actual-
folks.
Gathering
Let's,
dust.
An
the
eBay item.
actual VIP guest pass I had October 21st, 1996, right there.
look at
And
that.
then
That's
this is-
crazy.
and then this is the stud. It's
Now, if
got
you
the-
really want to
Gene
look
Simmons
alive,
blood
you
on
wait
it.
for one of them to drop dead.
I don't know if you can see the actual blood, right?
Yeah, I
here
can
on
see
the
a little.
corner. So yeah, so that's the KISS package. If anybody knows a collector that might be interested, drop me a.
So if you're a collector or you want to be one,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really cool. If I was like into collecting shit,
Yeah,
that'd be
and I,
something
like
to
I
get
said,
framed.
I've had it in all this time, but it just sits in a closet. I always thought, well, I have it mounted and framed and shit, but I never did. So
Yeah.
I'm like if somebody offered me the right price, I'd part with it. But yeah, it's
What's the right price?
well, I don't
Not
know.
$10
Does anybody know what something like that would be worth? I mean, because
I
We
mean,
got
to
$10
the biggest,
in the
the
chat.
biggest Kiss fan, it's worth more than the casual Kiss fan, basically.
Yeah, right. You gotta. It's obviously finding your audience.
right, yeah.
Todd, obviously not a Kiss fan.
There's probably some guy doing a live stream somewhere right now, the biggest Kiss fan in the world, live on YouTube somewhere.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of Van Halen fans on YouTube.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're going to talk about Van Halen.
Next week about Van Halen strings. Next week
Right.
about
I
Van
did that
Halen's
with Johnny
technique.
tomorrow night.
Oh, we're gonna have a different guest.
Is Johnny still on his show? Let me ask you. So you guys sit there and you guys just talk Van Halen nonstop, right?
No, we do the same. We try to. We always try to come back to Van Halen, but we just talk like we are tonight about whatever.
Yeah, because but the thing is, his channel always says Van Halen, like it's about Van Halen,
Yeah,
and it's like
especially
well,
the
what can we-
Tuesday night show is the Van Halen show.
I'd be more interested in talking about Dan Halen. You guys remember the Squidbillies?
No, I never watched it.
Oh, you guys never watched Squidbillies?
I know-
Dan Halen.
I know.
He had the mullet. He was the landlord, Dan Halen, right?
Yeah. He was the boss. Yeah, like and he was the boss, and he ran the town.
He was the landlord. He was the landlord.
Fucking
I got a
great.
shout out to Speed for Hire. That's one of the funniest comments I've ever seen. I don't know if you could see it, but
When he said you whacked anyone lately.
he said you whacked anyone lately.
So Cheech says to contact John 5, but he's got this huge Kiss collection. I mean, this guy's got like everything Kiss. But he's like friends with them. He can get this. He can probably get this stuff just by picking up the phone.
Yeah. Well, just so everyone knows, the demon signed it. Cat signed it. The spaceman signed it.
It's
and Star Child.
Oh, Star Child. I actually saw Star Child at the post office one time in Brentwood.
Oh, you did?
I was standing in line, and this guy had his back to me. He turned around and walked out. It was Paul Stanley. I was like, "Hey, it's Star Child."
And now where Simpson, OJ lived? OJ Simpson?
Yeah, I actually lived not half a block from where he did the deed. I mean,
wow.
The guy that lived above me.
I thought he was innocent.
Bundy in Montana, yeah.
He's on Rockingham. He was on Rockingham,
That's
but
not
his
where
house
he
is gone.
Yeah.
No, he killed her at the apartments.
Yeah, which was on Bundy.
Right behind the Ralph's. If you go,
it was farther down. Ralph's.
Well, you go up and then you go like this, and then it's right there on the left.
Yeah, that building's gone. But they, the guy that lived right above me in the apartment I was in, he was a total asshole. I hated him. But one night I'm watching this like True Hollywood story on the OJ thing, and that guy was in the trial. He was out walking his dog that night, and they had him.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, God, the guy upstairs was testified in the OJ trial.
That's hilarious. I'll tell you what's funny. When I came back here, my brother sent me a picture, like right across the street from my apartment on 4th Street at another apartment. And I'm like, why are you sending me my neighbor's apartment? I mean, I've seen that building 100 times. He goes, that's the fucking Three's Company apartment. So then I looked at the intro and it was like, holy shit, I looked at that thing every day for years. Never knew the thing was from, I just would see it as my neighbor's place.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny how many places were only used for like one shot of an exterior on a TV show like Happy Days. Okay, there's that house.
Then the rest of the soundscape.
Yeah, or the Brady Bunch. They actually somebody bought that and turned the interior of it into what the set looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think wasn't Halloween in like Pasadena or something?
They actually moved that house. They moved the whole house to another location. But yeah, the original house was in Pasadena, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so funny.
Here, there, Glendale. I think it was Pasadena, though.
No. Did they include Alice's sex dungeon in the remake of the where we used to take the budget down? And,
Alan Melvin.
Yeah.
Sam the Butcher.
God. He was in Bilko.
Yeah.
Yep.
Barney Hefner.
He was in Bilko. He was in McHale's Navy too, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah,
And then there's a cat to his
positive.
likeness in Top Cat. I wonder if he was one of the voices in Top Cat. Did he do his own voice?
Let me just see. Yeah.
I don't know if people realize. You guys watch Top Cat? Remember Top Cat?
I used to.
I remember it.
Top Cat was Bilko. It was the Phil Silvers show, just made into a group of alley cats instead of the guy being the captain in the Navy. It was
I think it was Great Bait too.
Well, the Flintstones was the Honeymooners.
Right.
Magilla Gorilla or something.
Right, but like when you hear Top, listen, Officer Dibble's coming. It sounds just like the guy's impersonating Phil Silvers. Great, but they had all Benny on a GTC. If you ever watch fucking Bilko, you'll laugh. The guy looks just like the cat, Benny.
Okay, yeah, Phil Silvers. Yeah, of course he was on. He was on McHale's Navy too.
Alan Melvin was.
Devery. Yep.
Wow. Alan Melvin was Sam the Butcher. But go to but he didn't do Top Cat.
Oh, let's see. Top Cat. I don't see it. He was on Adam Ant Show, Adventures of Gulliver, Goma Pile.
He was on every show in the 70s.
Yeah.
Jim Neighbors was in Cannonball too. The list of people.
He was even on. He was on Green Acres. He was on H&R Puffin Stuff as Heinrich Rat, Living Island Boat. He was on Mayberry RFD. He was in Banana Splits. He was Drooper.
Was he?
Banana Splits, yeah. I know he was either McGilla, Gorilla, or Grape Ape, too. He was the Funky Phantom.
Fleagle, Trooper, and Snorks.
Wait till your father gets home. Yeah, he was the next door neighbor.
Oh, yeah. How
Charlie.
come nobody ever, like, when I was, you ever listen to someone that listens to Bob Marley? How come nobody ever called out Bob Marley for stealing the Banana Splits theme? Right, the same fucking song. One banana, two, right? Tra la 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 la.
The estate of Drooper,
right?
Sued.
Mr. Marley, there's a phone call for you. A guy named Mr. Snorks. He wants to explain how he owns the rights to that song.
And then, they're like, I said, oh, we'll never win it. We'll all lose.
Glum. How about Danger Island?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Chungo. Are you muted?
I was saying, who was that kid? That kid was great.
Chungo?
Like the old wild man kid.
Yeah. Then there was there was
sword
Gulliver's
fights and
Travels.
everything.
There
That
was
was
The Adventures of Huck Finn was on there too.
Are we talking just Hanna-Barbera here?
No,
this is
Banana Splits.
Banana Splits.
Oh, okay.
Danger Island.
Yeah, Adventures of Huck Finn.
I really just remember Danger Island. And
Yeah. It was like a live action with cartoon. There
oh,
was
I remember Huck
Finn,
Finn had Becky
yeah.
with the pigtails.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Sea Monsters.
Oh yeah,
that's the best.
Johnny Whitaker, Billy Barty.
Yeah,
that is the best. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters is great. The Shellovision. Oh
yeah, there was a
Johnny and Scott are friends.
That's right, Johnny and Scott.
Paul Gilbert and Mike Portnoy and a couple other guys did a Rush cover band. They called it Cygnus and the Sea Monsters.
I still remember the Croft Super Show. It used to be Michael Lembeck, Captain Cool and the Kongs, and they would introduce
Michael
the different,
Lembeck. Christ, there's a name from the past.
And Captain Cool and the Kongs, and their drummer was actually from Three Dog Night, and they did the theme song for that, and they had all the Wonder Bug series, Dr. Shrinker.
Remember Lidsville?
Oh yeah. Charles Nelson Riley.
How's that for a topper?
Or that was Puff and Stuff that had Witchy Poo, right?
Yeah.
Well, Witchy Poo was also Genie in Lidsville.
Weenie the Genie.
Yeah, Billy Hayes.
Yeah.
Billy Hayes, exactly.
Yeah.
Who was also on the Paul Lynde Halloween special with Kiss.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Hayes and Margaret Hamilton.
Here they are to lip sync for you. Kiss.
Margaret Hamilton was on Sigmund and Sea Monsters as well.
What did your mother tell you to kiss and make up?
Yeah.
I think that was his actual joke.
Yeah. I was so pissed because I could not get that to come in on, it was the station it was on would not come in on my TV back then.
Oh, really?
I was trying to watch it. Yeah, it sucked.
Have you watched Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park anytime in the last 10 years?
I don't think
Not in the last 10 years.
It's almost
It's
unwatchable.
dreadful. It's dreadful.
It's fucking, it's so shitty. It's great.
Yeah.
First of all,
if you want to laugh your ass off at cheese, yeah.
and anything with Anthony Zerbe, I love. I love Anthony Zerbe. But just the fact that Ace character goes from Ace to a black Ace.
Is that black stunt guy?
It's fucking classic.
The Ace
And
of
then-
Spades.
Did they dub Peter's voice too, or is his voice
Yes,
always?
I think it was.
It's like the heavy New York accent on Peter's voice is ridiculous.
Wait, let me just. I'll see the voices.
But if you've read any of the biographies, I mean, those guys were so like out to lunch on that whole thing. You know, I mean,
Oh yeah,
Gene and Paul were pretty much like trying to, stay, pretty
well
much.
that's why I always make fun because he's like Star Child.
I
I'm
know.
like, are you fucking
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah, I could picture Gene going, "Come on, guys, this is a serious production.
Star Child.
Oh, yeah.
Stop
Star
wrecking
Child.
lies."
You're wanted on set, Star Child. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hello,
And then,
Frisco. I would have had Rip Taylor running through the set with confetti.
and then Ace is always saying "Ach." Like, what the fuck is "Ach"?
It's so bad.
It's beyond bad.
That's
Do you
right. Brian
remember
James was in
the-
that too.
Do you remember the episode of Chips where Donnie Most played like a Kiss guy, and he did the song "Devil Take Me"?
No, but I remember the episode of Love Boat where Sonny Bono played like
Yeah,
a
Deacon
Kiss
Dark.
guy. He's had makeup.
Deacon Dark.
Deacon Dark. Yeah.
Smash it.
Look it up. Look it up.
trash it,
Yep, look
hit
it up.
with a hammer and bash. it.
Yeah.
How about when Michael, what was his name? Michael Barr was on
Debar.
Michael DeBars. He was on KRP
Mhm.
as the punk band. What was the hell the name of the Scum of the Earth? Fucking
I
great.
I used to watch that show so much. And what's
That
funny
show I would watch.
is that-
I've never watched it. In all honesty, I've never watched an episode of Chips.
I haven't either, but KRP
Yeah,
I
I
did.
never watched
KRP. What's funny about KRP is the hottest chick was actually Bailey, Jan Smithers, who
Oh
was
yeah, she.
smoking, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
you got
she-
this fake looking blonde who's everyone's like dying over. It's like she looks like
Mhm.
fucking plastic, and then this chick is like
Mhm.
completely blows her away, but they act like she's the frumpy one or something. I'm like, you guys are fucking
Mhm.
idiots.
Yeah,
I love
it-
Gordon
Oh
Jump.
yeah, everyone loved Bailey.
Oh yeah.
Arthur Carlson. I love that show. Herb Tarlick, Les Nessman. Oh, it's just fantastic.
Les Nesman was
Mhm.
awesome.
The turkey
Fucking great.
episode. The turkey.
He's
episode.
also great in the movie Valley Girl. You ever see Valley Girl?
That's
Yeah.
right. He's the car instructor.
That's right. He's the driving instructor.
I got a good one, a Gold's
I
Gym
think
story.
Gordon Jump molested Dudley on Different Strokes.
Oh,
did
yeah, I
he?
remember that episode, the uncomfortable episode. Hey, take your
Was
t-shirt.
Dudley the little redheaded kid?
Oh
No, Dudley was Arnold's buddy.
I thought he was a little
And,
redheaded
they went
kid.
to
I
the
think
bike
he is
store. No,
Who was the
no, they
little
went to the
redheaded
bicycle
kid?
shop.
In what?
I don't know, but it wasn't Dudley.
And on Different Strokes.
Oh,
Yeah, but
that
it
was
wasn't
Danny
Dudley.
something. His
Oh,
name
was
Danny
that
something.
Danny? What's his name? The one that ended up being in that teenage rock band there with Tommy.
I thought he
McLaughlin
was.
there.
I thought he did country, but his name was Danny something.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Danny Cooksey. That was it.
Yeah, Danny Cooksey. That's him. Yeah, he ended up being in that.
He was on Different
Bad for
Strokes,
Good.
right?
I
Yep.
think so. Yeah.
What was his character name?
Don't
Little
remember.
Sam. No.
All
Yeah, Sam McKinney.
right, so that wasn't Dudley because I remember they always talked about Dudley.
Yeah, very on a very special episode of Different Strokes.
You know what I feel like?
We
an
got a
idiot
bike
now.
ride,
How do
right?
I not have what you're
Yeah.
talking about, Willis, in my fucking
Yeah, and doing an episode like that and having strokes in the title
yeah.
doesn't jive.
I'll tell you what's his name, Conrad Bain. I loved him on Maude.
Oh yeah,
He was great on Maude.
You got a thing for Maud.
I do. I love that show.
yeah.
Young Adrian Barbeau,
Ooh.
Arthur Quincy Harmon, the next door neighbor, Vivian Vance. Vivian Vance. What the hell's her name? Vivian was her name. What the
Oh,
Rue
Rue
McClanahan.
McClanahan.
Clanahan, whatever.
Yeah, the
her-
golden girl there.
Vivian Vance was Lucy's next door neighbor.
Exactly, Ethel.
Turkey's
Ethel.
King.
Mert.
That's all I can think of. When I hear the name Ethel, I automatically just go to Richard Christie on Stern. This is Ethel. You know what he talks to, like, they think it's a guy because it just sounds like he puts a soft voice and he's like, "No, I'm Ethel." He does nothing to his voice. I'm Ethel.
Well,
I fucking
when
love Richard
William
Christie.
Macy stopped getting drunk, that's when the show took a downhill turn.
No,
After the first season, yeah. I thought it was hilarious. He was drinking all the time. He'd get drunk.
I know, but the funny thing is just Maude looking at him with that look, going, "God, I'll get you for that, Walter. God, I'll get you for that." She was great.
She also had a mustache too.
She is.
That's,
How about when they did the roast and Jeffrey Ross goes, "I wouldn't fuck her with B. Arthur's dick," and B. Arthur's in the front row going,
yeah,
"What
he
the fuck
says,
did
I
do?"
wouldn't fuck I think it was, I wouldn't fuck Andy Dick with B. Arthur's dick. Or something.
Right, yeah.
Not fuck Andy Dick with
Fucking classic. Jeffrey Ross was great.
Oh yeah, Roastmaster General.
Yeah, she was like, "What the hell did
What
I
did
like?"
Andy
She has
Dick
a look on her
qualify
like,
for a
The
roast?
funniest
What's
line
that?
I ever heard him say was when it was the Pamela Anderson roast, and Courtney Love was sitting next to Pam Anderson. She was just out of it, and he turns to freaking Courtney Love and says, "Your husband looks better than you do right now."
"Oh
After
God."
and I remember it was like around 2005 of up at my other place and stuff. I'm sitting on the futon watching this thing. I went to my knees and I started slapping the floor. I was laughing my balls off so hard. Oh my God. Couldn't
It's
believe
funny
he
stuff.
said that.
Yeah, it's those roasts are funny. I like Jeffrey Ross. Jeffrey Ross has a great joke where he says he wrote a poem called "Enough with the Bread Already," and he's like, "Your eyes are like two pools of water. I want to swim in them. Your eyes are like two pools of water. I want to swim in them. Your lips are like two rose petals. I want to bathe in them. So what's up with your ass? Enough with the bread already." It's a fucking great one. I like Jeffrey Ross.
Do you guys watch Kill Tony? Do you ever watch that? It's called Kill Tony.
I don't know.
He's a
it's
comedian.
It's called The Sopranos.
Just give me 1 second.
And no, it's called Kill Tony. And this Tony guy is a comedian. He's in Austin, and they do this show. And it's a little comedy. It's in a comedy club. And so they reach into a hat. They pull out a name. It's a comedian that wants to get on stage. They give the guy 1 minute, 60 seconds, and then they just roast the guy. And it's on YouTube. It's a weekly show, and it's really good, especially if you're into the stand-up comedians, or if you're someday, hey, I want to become a stand-up comedian.
I don't do stand-up comedy anymore. I mean, that heyday is gone.
You can use this program like being in stand-up comedian school, because they only give you 60 seconds and then they will roast you when it's done. And if you're good, they let you know. It's a fun show. It's called Kill Tony.
Kill Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got
Check
off
that
the
out.
albums of
Just put that in.
Yeah, just put in Kill Tony. And they do weekly episodes. And I think Jeff Ross, and they have a special guest every week that just sits there on the panel. And Jeff Ross was Pauly Shore was a guest one week, and everybody just rips on Pauly Shore, because he gets old. And when you watch it live, you can add
think it was ever
comments.
funny.
When you watch Kill Tony live, there's comments just like what we have, and so it's a fun show.
Was Dave taking a shit?
That carnivore.
So you
diet.
guys know how
There he is.
Hey,
Yeah, sorry, I muted my.
Was it very good?
It was.
So I got a guitar
Use the
sent to me
facilities.
from I got a guitar sent to me from Galeri. Are any of you guys
Ooh.
interested in seeing that?
Yes, of course. And
Yeah,
before we
sure,
do that, let
Bill.
me just say this. Nobody in the chat has asked me, but Joe is not here tonight because Joe has some, I don't know if we talked about it, but Mikey issues. And so he needed his phone. And so he wasn't here. We missed Joe. We're going to see him here next week. Yes, let's see this guitar, the Glary David, the Glary Fine.
this guitar was sent to me from Glary, and they're like, "We'll
Larry
send you a
Sanders.
free guitar if you do a YouTube video about it." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it."
And let me find where you were at. And here we
All
are.
right.
Actually, that
that's
one's
a
better
handsome
than the
guitar.
other ones.
So it's
that's
comes
better
from
than
Glary.
the Strat knockoffs.
Yeah, the Strat knockoffs were horrible, and this is a set neck construction.
Wow, set neck. And it looks
And
like
you
the
can
frets
kinda
on
see
jagged.
some- there's little mishaps in the paint here and there overall, but it's a set neck, and it reminds me of that Ibanez,
Jet
you
King.
know, the Ibanez
King.
GX 170s or whatever they
Oh.
are.
It kind of reminds me of that PRS that had that the
Oh, begins with an
Shiva.
S.
Shiva.
Oh, a PRS.
You got me on that one.
It's the Cella, CELA or whatever that one was.
Sela? I can't remember what it was called.
Where are these made?
Here's the thing about Glary. They don't tell you where they're made. And obviously with that open book headstock, they don't care about copyright infringements.
Now that is pretty much a Fender. I mean, a Gibson shape.
Uh-huh.
Well, it
There's
doesn't
no
have the center
serial
hole in it.
They don't put
Close.
serial numbers on these things.
No
All
one's
right,
got to
so-
steal them.
Mira.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen Fraser. The PRS Mira.
Okay. So yeah. So again, set neck construction. But if you look at, and so they gave me this guitar so I could do a YouTube video on it. Look at how the nut, how much room you've got right there on the nut, right? So it needs to have the nut. The nut's not
Shape
cut
down.
very
Yeah,
good.
it's like,
Yeah, that's an easy fix.
yeah,
Okay.
I'd rather have it cut high than low because
All right. So you guys can see the string height right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty high, right? Come down here to the bridge.
the bridge is
And that thing is
slammed against
decked.
yeah.
That thing is decked. They sent me
What
this
is?
guitar
Well,
knowing
when
that I'm
you
going to
take
do a video about it.
when
and
you
the
take
is decked.
when you take the nut down, that'll lower it a bit. Also, when you adjust the neck, I mean, is there a bone in the neck as well?
No, I tightened it up and the neck is straight.
Let's see what the where's the 12th fret at if we no, you have to pinky things down. You have to press the first fret. Press the first fret.
First fret,
And then with your pinky on your right hand, hit the 22nd. No, hit the last fret, and then hit 12th, and then bounce it on the 12th. How much bounce?
It's got some bounce. I usually do it at the 7th.
Okay, so you could straighten out the neck just a little bit. Take some of the relief out. It looks like you got a little bit of too much
But when you
relief.
think should be at least an eighth of an inch or some adjustability here at the
Oh,
bridge.
yeah.
I mean, to
Yeah,
have
and
it just decked.
taking the nut down will help too.
You could put a shim in the neck. I'm joking.
I know, right?
It's glued in.
This thing needs a shim in the neck. Yeah, I really think it's.
I've not been impressed with Glary.
They
In
suck.
fact, if you've never played one, if anyone in this chat has never played one, they're not good. I've played one. They feel like a Squier. Any Squier instrument is a million times better.
I've never even heard of them before now.
Yeah. But that one actually looks better than the one that I've played. Most of the stuff
getting
is
better, but they're still really bad.
what do they charge for that instrument that they gave you for free?
I think this was 179.
Too much.
Yeah.
Well, see, for 179, it could be a kid's first guitar. It's not going to be. I mean, I had a Kent acoustic when I first started playing.
There's a lot better guitars for $179 out there. I would say a Harley Benton would probably be better at that price.
What about a Barbie Benton?
These are
much
the
better.
worst. This is the worst one you can get that they're selling nowadays.
That's the cheapest one you can get.
It looks good though. It's a good looking guitar.
Yeah. But as far
Right?
as a brand, it's you know, it's a horrible brand. But they're trying to get better, and they send every.
I'm sure they're going to
YouTuber-
appreciate this gleaming account that you're giving me.
Yeah. No, when I made the YouTube video
suck.
today,
Oh, you-
I recorded a video, and I'm going to have my son do the editing. But I told it like it is. Larry's not going to send me another guitar after I release
excellent.
my video.
It doesn't say where it's made.
No, and there's no serial number or anything on it.
It's
There's no
got
numbers
be
on it.
China.
I think I could hawk that thing for parts and get more money than a 179. That what is that bridge made out of?
Who knows?
So you guys
I
know
got no
Angelina that I teach.
Yep.
I mean, Matt hasn't been on the round long enough to see it, but Angelina's a girl I teach, and she has a what's that Gibson guitar that the singer for Green Day plays? What does he play? A Melody Maker?
An Epiphone
something like
Junior.
Or
A junior. So she has the Epiphone version of it, the signature model of his. It has a one piece, tailpiece and bridge are all like one. Like the original ones, kind of like the PRS bridge.
Les Paul.
But the thing is bent forward like this. You can't even get the thing off the post.
Wow.
Because the strings pulled and just under normal tension, the strings pulled that fucking thing bent forward.
Yeah, so much for
pretty cheap pot
intonation.
metal or something.
Oh, it's horrible. It's just horrible.
We should do on a future show like discuss the whole Chibson thing, because I've seen these in stores and I've seen YouTube reviews on some of these, and it's hit and miss. But some of these, like Les Paul copies, they're putting out with Gibson on the headstock and serial numbers and Made in USA on the back. Some of them are really well made, and some
I've played one. My friend singer Johnny bought one. Then he tried selling it to me. I said, "It's like no."
Yeah,
it's like thing is, it looked great. The thing is that the neck was not adjustable. It had a bow in it. You couldn't get out of it. It's like, so I go.
Yeah, like I said, they have different builders, and they sell.
Epiphone. The Epiphone factory is one of them.
Yeah,
because
the workers for Epiphone. Yeah, they build.
I played a buddy of mine's and did a review on it, and I couldn't believe it when I opened up the back. I'm like, every pot, everything in the thing said Epiphone on it.
Wow. Now I hadn't heard that, but I've got a friend in Indiana who actually had a Les Paul built because he wanted this special design. It was like an Aldo Nova thing that had like an Explorer headstock, and he had all these specifics. And he got through some of these like Facebook chat rooms or something that he was part of, found a builder that did it. And he said, you know what? He goes, I just wanted the body and the neck and have it be painted. He goes, everything else, my brother's a luthier. He took it and redid everything, took all the guts out, refretted it, did everything. And he said, it's great. But then I've seen like guys do reviews on him, like actual like guitar repair guys, and they're like taking it down and looking at the wood inside the cavities and stuff. And they're like, well, this isn't like a veneer. This is actually a good piece of wood.
Maple top.
So, but for like,
but there's a lot of Gibsons that are being made by boutique builders that make knockoff Gibsons. In fact, some of them I
for
think
$350.
No, not for that. I'm talking.
That's what I'm saying.
$5,000-$6,000. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. These Chinese are selling these things for like $300.
Wow.
And if you go on eBay, you can find any guitar. You can find copies of just.
Oh, I know. They're especially on AliExpress and all that.
Yeah, them.
But most of the time, when you have a Chibson and it's laying right in front of you, there's going to be an imported bridge on it that you can adjust with a straight edge screwdriver. If you take the truss rod cover off, it's going to have an open cavity where you stick an Allen wrench in there. It won't have the nut on the end.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not a Gibson.
You can tell the difference. You can
tell
tell
the
the
if you
difference
look at the binding on the neck, there's not going to be any nibs that come over the side of each fret.
Right. It's not going to be
which I actually prefer. No nibs.
But for $300 or $400, I mean, people are buying these and then just replacing them with Gibson parts. And the reason they're not stopping, Gibson's not putting the clamps on them for putting their logo on it is because they're selling a ton of parts by people buying these and then putting their replacement parts on them.
Well, yeah,
Because-
I always wondered how Fender gets away with that, but
I've
that's a
had 3 or
different
4
legal-
Gibsons come through my store.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. To me, I was like, if I was to own this, why wouldn't I just buy the Epiphone? Because the Epiphones are great. Some of those Epiphones are great.
Well, still you're getting, I mean,
you
Epiphones
get-
are, how much?
Yeah,
are the
I mean, if
Epiphones?
you're getting exactly.
What,
Well, I
like
mean-
700-800 or something? Or
Well, they used it. I'm saying back in the day when they were $300-400 bucks.
Because these, I mean, the same friend of mine, his brother got a white Gibson double neck, like the Alex Lifeson double neck. He said it looks great. You can hardly tell the difference, and it sounds great. And it was like $450.
Yeah, I know they just fucking making it's crazy.
Yeah,
To me, it's like I'm not a big set neck guy, so I don't really like Gibsons. And Woolmouth makes everything that I mean, I totally get it because people want to make their dream guitar, and they can make not only that, they can make something that you can't get else, like the person with the Aldo Nova thing, or
because they'll make anything you want.
I fault Gibson and Fender for that, that they don't fill that void. Or don't listen to the audience. When people are sitting there going, I want the Aldo Nova guitar, and they're like, no, you want the Dusk Tiger. What the fuck do I want?
I had a Gibson.
And
You want a reverse V.
thing.
I
Another
want a
thing
reverse V. What
is
am I
that
playing jarts in my yard?
the longest time their refusal to use the headstock from the Gibson on the Epiphones, and that's a big thing. People that played the cheaper Epiphones, they say, yeah, I love the Epiphones, but that headstock, I don't like it. I want the Les Paul, and they never listened to that, and they kind of caved into that and kind of made it look a little more like that.
Well, I always thought that was a mistake. When Gibson bought Epiphone, what's that, 1957? The Epiphones actually were a separate run American company. And then they put them all together and was making, so they were making like a Gibson 330, a Gibson 330 and an Epiphone Casino. But they both had their own models and their own thing. But then when they started just making Epiphone be the knockoff company, I thought that was a mistake. Like you could have called it the Gibson something line, like,
But
financially,
financially,
But if they were going to do that, and if they were going to make Les Pauls, make the headstock look like the Les Paul, then it's like
when
and then put
Gibson
Epiphone.
bought Epiphone, that was the best financial move that company ever made, because they have sold millions of dollars worth of Epiphone stuff.
yeah, but it doesn't matter what.
Going.
What I'm saying, it doesn't matter what brand they could have just kept it as Gibson. They just bought a brand. All the stuff that Epiphone sells is Les Pauls, and Les Paul Juniors. I mean, how many of those do you think are? What's the original Epiphone guitar? First of all, they're not making
Sheridan.
the Sheridan.
A Wilshire.
The Wilshire. Yeah.
They're not. Yeah. So they barely make the. Do they make the Wilshire now? Is it part of their regular line? I know they.
I think they've reissued it. Yeah.
Casinos do well because you can thank the Beatles.
Yeah.
The
I used to have
Broadway.
a Sheridan back in the 90s. I had it for like 6 years.
Okay. So if I see a guy playing an Epiphone, 95% of the time I'm looking at a Casino. Would you agree with that?
I would say a Les Paul. I think I see.
I'm talking about it as an original instrument.
Oh, as an original.
One of the original instruments of Epiphone.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know, was the Casino was it Casino first or 330 first?
That's a good question.
Or they come out at the same time? They're the same guitar. But the Casino I see everywhere. Everyone loves it because the Beatles played the Epiphone Casino. And those Epiphone Casinos that the Beatles were playing were made in USA. That's all USA shit. What was the acoustic guitar that Paul played? The Texan?
Or it the Dove?
Epiphone Texan.
Oh yeah.
No, it was its own thing. It was still made in USA.
Okay, there are differences between it.
Or a
Casino
hummingbird.
is totally hollow.
So was a
And
330.
no, 335 is semi-hollow.
Who said
it
335? I said a 330.
Oh, 330. Okay.
ES 330.
So if you were to get a
335,
Gibson,
the Epiphone version's called the Dot.
what would be the Gibson acoustic guitar that you'd want if one came along?
1964 Country and Western. The Sheryl Crow model, which is they released it as now, but that's what it is, a 1964 Country and Western. I think that's the nicest sounding of their bunch.
I like the hummingbirds for some reason.
Hummingbirds are okay. Those are maple, aren't they? I know the Firebird is, the Dove is. Maybe the Hummingbird's rosewood. If it's rosewood, it's a good guitar.
The ES330 was 1959. Casino was 61.
Okay, so the 330's first.
And 335 was 58.
Yeah, that way. I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't even consider the 335 the same guitar. That's a semi-hollow.
Yeah.
You know how you can tell
But
it's
the
a hollow
amount of
body without
sales
looking?
that Epiphone has, don't you think
Bro.
that was a great business move on Gibson's part?
Would it be a
Because the
trapeze
amount of
tailpiece?
sales-
Yeah, of course. The trapeze is the giveaway.
Because you can't mount the.
That's
friggin'
correct,
bridge
sir.
and the-
Sorry, what was that, Dane?
Oh, I was just talking financially, where I thought that Gibson's best financial move was to buy Epiphone and keep making them, because they have sold millions of Epiphones. And it's very much like Fender when they decided to move to Japan and start Squier guitars. They've sold millions of dollars worth of Squiers, and people were mad at them at the time, but they came back and
When did the Squier come out?
82.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. The Squier Bullet, the USA Bullet.
So they were.
one with
I
the
don't know
piece of
if that
metal
was a
that was crimped up.
but
for the
I
bridge.
don't know if that decision was a decision based on foresight or a decision based on they knew they had to move the factory. They didn't have a lot of room in Fullerton, and so they had to pack up and go to Corona eventually. So
Based
I don't
on
know.
necessity. Yeah.
It might have been what we call serendipitous that they ended up going there, and then the guitars came out so good, and they've been using Fuji. What's it called? Fuji Gen.
Okay.
I love Squier products.
And
I
Squier
think
used
for
to be the lowest
prices and
priced
stuff.
guitar that you could get your hands on.
And
the lowest priced good guitar that you could play would be a
I
Squier.
own Squiers right now, and I mean, back in like the mid 2015s or whatever, I got the vintage modified, basically, and I just took the pickups. I put HS3s in, and I put a mint green pick guard on, the cream white, and it's kind of like an Ingve guitar that I like, and the neck. I mean, it's very. I got that for $199, $200, and then I got the
What
deluxe.
Ingve
the
guitar
next one up.
has a mint guard?
Huh?
What Ingve guitar has a mint guard?
No, it's like I
Okay.
Ingved it with the pickups.
Right.
He
I was
actually,
gonna
he
say-
actually
I
does
just-
have
I
one,
just
though.
think-
He
Well,
does have
yeah.
one with a mint. He's got a cream white.
Is it black?
60s. No, it's like the cream white, but I've seen him have one with like that mint pick
Yep.
guard on it.
It goes good with the cream though. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pull
But
that out.
Squier used to be like the
I thought he had
cheapest
all
good
50s.
guitar you could buy.
Yeah,
But
back in-
now, because there's other companies coming in selling you very cheap sort of good guitars, Squire's turned to like a mid-tier company now. It's not unusual to get 3 or 4
no.
$100
Someone look
out
up the
of a
price
Squier.
of a Squier Affinity. That's their cheapest one.
Yeah.
AFFINITY.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't have any interest in getting that one, but
But
No,
I
I'm
mean,
just
the
curious what the
newer stuff, like you said, the classic vibe and all those, they're making mid-tier instruments now.
Right, but those
309. Those are 309 now.
Affinities 309.
Yeah, holy
They
shit.
were $99.
I see one for
10 years ago.
289. Yeah. Now, back in 1989, 1990, I got a Squier Strat. It was pearloid white. And this thing had a gloss neck like an American Strat. I gave it to my friend Mike, and who's a really good player and stuff. He just happened to be playing it. You go, wow, this is a great guitar. He didn't look at the headstock. That was a Squier too.
MIJ.
Made in Korea.
You know what's funny is I actually have footage of you telling that to somebody on an airplane. Let's see Krellbot telling the same story to somebody on an airplane.
But enough about me. I hope this hasn't been boring for you. I always get so carried away. I lose all track of time.
This is a valid story. But no, I told him, look at the headstock in Squier 2. I bought that for $99.
It's still going.
It was a great guitar. It's a great story. It was a great freaking guitar. It got stolen, and I felt bad for losing a $99 guitar.
Someone stole a Squier.
I had a made in America Squier. I had a made in America Squier because for about 9 months there, for some reason they were making Squiers in America for like
the very first run. I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought it was the first run.
The first Squier Bullet was made in America. That was the one where they didn't even have a bridge; they had a metal.
Let me ask Jay Sherman real quick. How does the new Squier Bullets play?
It stinks.
Had to get that one in there.
Yeah, but the bridge on the USA Bullets used to be a piece of like a steel on the pick guard or whatever, and they just bent it up and then sent the strings through and put saddles on. Very unique design.
The problem I always had with Squiers and why I never invested 50 cents in one. Actually, I used to have a Squier 51. I thought that was the coolest guitar. But it had a regular size body, I think. Oh no, it took a regular size neck. So I swapped the neck and put a rosewood neck on it. But in general, you can't really swap a lot of the parts because sometimes the bodies are only 1.5 inches instead of 1 3/4 inches. And you don't know what the hell you're getting. And there's what's that?
Depends. I mean, I've got Squiers that are full.
I just said it depends. You can get either one.
We talked about.
I got to run. I'll say a quick good night. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Got to bounce.
And Chuck, I will see you tomorrow. Text me before you go there because I want this one to be your first smoke tomorrow. We'll smoke that one first.
I might be by tomorrow.
All right.
Because I'm not working out yet. My friggin' side's still killing me.
All right, Chuck.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're way over time, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Good night.
Really? Hey, so much for a deep dive into 76. That was more like in a wading pool for tonight. But
yeah.
Right.
Kind of got off.
Ed Dana says he had a made in Japan Squier in 86. Well, 86 was like the big year. They were already there because 86 was right after that factory was making the standards. That's all they had was the Fender standards with the Fenders they were making in 85. Was it 85 or 86? When did they move that factory? There's several months where they were taking guitars from Japan. No one knows. I think it's... I'm just going by serial numbers in my head. I know there's an E6.
86.
It could be... Let me see when they moved. When did Fender Corona...
85.
It opened in 85. But when?
March 15th at 4:04.
Wow, they opened the Ensenada one in Mexico in 87?
That's a great factory. All that Charvel stuff comes out of there. All the EVH stuff comes out of there.
They're great.
If you get one of those new Frankies, the EVH Frankie, that comes out of there.
I think Fender makes great stuff out of Mexico. I think the Mexican strap. Oh, did I ever show you guys this? I'm going to I just found out that the guy who does all my work is not going to retire. So I'm like, you mean I can buy a neck for this body and you'll put it together for me? He says, yeah. pulling 2 zippers at once, so I'm actually not opening the case at all. You know what I mean? I'm like such a knucklehead. So I'm gonna. This pick guard's gonna go. This pick guard's gonna be a solid black pick guard.
I'm gonna go, guys. I'll see you next week. I gotta go.
But anyways,
pick up a prescription for the girlfriend.
All right, go ahead. We'll see you. Thanks. I'll see you next week, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, anyways, I'm gonna put a black guard on it. And I think a Wenge neck with an ebony fingerboard. It'll look real good. Oh, and all black. All these pickups are coming out. This will be a all black pickguard, all black pickguard, all black pickups.
Well, where did you get that? Why is it?
That's a Mexican body, right?
This I bought from a person that lives in New Hampshire. So I bought a black Strat from him. I don't know what it's a guy that calls himself a girl. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And
there's a good buy.
She offered me to buy these guitars. I said, I'll buy them for $300. I'm not paying a nickel more. So I bought the black one. That's this guitar right here. So I put a black pickguard in this. I put the pickups in here, basically made it look like a Gilmore. I put a Dan Smith logo. So it says Fender Stratocaster in like a big 70s, but on a 50s headstock. Because I like that look better. I don't care what Gilmore says. And then I bought this one, but I haven't made this one I haven't started this project yet. The only thing I did was I had these extra saddles, so I put those on already. The Graphtec saddles. And I thought it would look good if I put the black with the black pickguard, black pickups.
Well, who made these? Who made the bodies?
This is Fender. This is a Mexican Fender.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Mexican.
Yeah. All right.
This is some crappy pickguard that aftermarket, but
you can tell by the routing hole where it goes on a machine there in the neck.
Okay.
Oh, this here, yeah, you can tell that's Fender right here, right where my thumb is, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, this will be a really cool looking guitar with a Wenge neck with a ebony board, and all black pickguard, all black. It's gonna look good.
I'm a fan of like Bird's Eye. I love Bird's Eye.
But I'm just waiting because, I'm gonna probably order the neck soon and then make this thing. But if I do that, if I decide that's what I'm gonna do, which I pretty much am, then I'm gonna sell 1 or 2 guitars. I might sell my Fender USA Deluxe black Gilmore looking one, not that one that I made, but the other one. Just because I don't need 900 Strats, only 902.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, let me get me out of here. Who Dan left. All right, guys, I think we're gonna call it.
Yep. It was a quick night.
Yeah, went by quick. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Sorry we went so late. And we'll see you guys next week.
Slightly. I might see you tomorrow.
Yeah, let me know. All right, later, Matt. Thanks for coming. Anything you want to say before we go?
Not really. Just see you next week.
All right, and Krell. Very good.
All right,
very good.
Okay, goodbye, Ted.
Goodbye.